Good evening.
Evening.
Every time. It's just that music. Every time.
Mate, nothing like a
Do you
bit
know
of
what? I'm
sax
starting
or
to put
trumpet.
that on. I'm starting to put that on repeat when I'm spawning these days. Yasmin loves it.
Well, it lasts as long as I do, mate. You know what I mean? I have to listen to it about half of the time, mate, and I'm done.
Yeah, mate, I don't even get to Coastal Koi, to be honest.
I don't know. It's mad. Well, episode number 7. Been a bit of a bitty week for me. I ain't gonna lie. Weather, crap. But we've got the national creeping up very soon, and all of a sudden, them jobs are all starting to mount up on the jobs list. Like
Yes. Yeah.
And I dare say, Lee, you're starting to now feel the pressure a little bit. I bet.
Well, this is where the little story about the industrial mouse comes into effect, isn't it? Now, in the background, I've been working hard for the last couple of months, so I'm actually feeling quite comfortable right now. Maybe I've spoken too soon. I'm not quite sure, but I feel okay. Yeah, there is still lots of bits and bobs to do, and obviously, yeah, it's very new to me. But obviously, I've got a good network around me, so I'm sure. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. But yeah, lots of stuff going on.
Right, Dave, you've obviously done about 900 shows because you're well older and stuff.
Am I any more organised? No.
Any tips? Any tips for getting ready?
Who are you going to ask, me or Kate? Because if I get to answer, it'll be leave it till the last week, and then we'll sort it somehow. If it's Kate, we'll start organising it 3 months ago. No,
she's one of them. She's packing for holiday like 9 weeks before you're even gone, right?
I tend to be very sort of, we'll do that next week. We'll do that next week, and then all of a sudden, them next weeks have gone, and it's time to seriously start getting ready. And that's what we've been doing in the last couple of days. In fairness, I mean, and not only that, it's not just the VATs, banners. You have to think about, you've got to get enough bags in, boxes in, elastic bands in, oxygen. We always go out and get another bottle of oxygen because one year we just about packed up and it was literally the last breath of oxygen that come out of that bottle.
Mate, I can never read them meters and I don't trust them anyway. And even if you pick a bottle up, you need like strength of guard.
Yeah. You know? And then of course we've been now starting to condition the fish we want to take, and we're now just praying that the ones that are in the polytunnel, we don't get another silly heat wave. And because you live a little bit on a wing and a prayer, don't you? Because it can all be going absolutely fine.
And then the next thing you know, they're poorly fish. And what can you do?
Before the show, they go down with something, and then you're absolutely, you're stuffed for the weekend, really. So, yeah, there's a lot of pressure. But I think it just, you do so many after a while. I think we always tend to have fish that if one lot we don't take, we take them, we take these or take those. So you've got to have a little bit of a plan B, should we say. But it's certainly getting busy now in preparation.
Well, I've got a complete new setup. Well, not complete new. I've got an addition to the setup that I've had now. Managed to twist Pete's arm to buy me some new ponds. Yeah. So yeah, I'm now at that level where how many fish do you put in there? How's the fish going to cope? Sort of scenario. Yeah. So I've also got a plan B. I'm gonna take another vat.
Just in case,
fish out to put the fish in if they're not if they're struggling or whatever, So always something to think about. But best part of the year, man. Show season. It's what it's all about, isn't it?
I'm really excited.
It's a fabulous weekend. I mean, yes, it's hard work, and I mean, we tend to get up about 4 o'clock on the Friday. We're then down the off-site facility. It takes us probably 2.5 hours to bag and sort the fish out that we're taking from there. Then it's down to the shop to do the rest. And it's generally 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 before we're away from here. And it's generally about 5:30, 6 before we leave the showground. So that Friday is a very long day. As
you see, that's the same for me, mate. So I thought I was always a little bit slow.
No, it takes time. It does.
it takes too bloody long, if I'm honest, mate.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I used to enjoy when I used to take 2 zippies, because you can literally equalize the water temperature in the zippy, sock them in, and take them. But it just, I think it was after, I think Unicoin Mike Snadden, I think he had an air pump failure one year going to the National and lost, quite a considerable amount of money in koi. And then that got me starting to think, well, I take a battery backup air pump, but what if you get a complete failure of the electrical system, for example, or a battery failure?
I mean that does happen at the National quite often. There's always someone that trips out the electrics, isn't there, Dave?
Yeah.
When he puts his kettle on.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking, by the way.
Yeah. After I point the finger everywhere.
What's I've done. I think I spoke to you before. Down there, I run 2 air pumps.
Yeah.
And both air pumps have a stone going to each pond.
Yeah. So
if one fails, I've always got
it's a good move
in there.
Yeah, it's a good move.
Because at the end of the day, personally, I don't see the point in filtering the water when you're there, because the amount of pumps that run the water pumps and that, it's just too much load going on.
Yeah, and if you've starved your fish correctly and that, I've never had, touch wood, an issue like that. So as long as you've got good oxygen going in, you do good water changes, it's fine. Absolutely.
Right.
It's a cracking weekend.
Right, before we bring our next guest in, anything from you, Lee, that you want to mention?
No, just obviously how much I'm looking forward to the National, and everyone should attend to support the hobby. And that's about it, really. Nothing much.
Well, if you stick about, I've got a little announcement to make towards the end of the show.
Oh yeah.
So that's something. I'm not sure if Dave even knows. I think I might. I can't remember. Talked to too many people. But right, I am really happy to introduce our next guest, which is the chairperson of Crouch Valley Koi Club. His name is Steve Rollins. He sent over a couple of pictures of some tiddlers that he's got. He's only been keeping koi for about a year or so. And some people would say he's not that good at it. But, to me, and that, well, let Steve tell his story, because I'm pulling everyone's leg. What this guy does, I think it will blow you away when we start listening to what somebody that's been keeping koi for such a long time does, including all the additional work by running a club and what his opinions are on certain subjects. And he's one of your friends, Dave, isn't he?
Yeah, Steve. Yeah. It's a club that I've, got a lot of admiration for, because it's a club that nobody has a bad word to say about it. And it seems to be going strength to strength. Their show I visited last year, and anybody who wants to visit a night, that's a cracking show to visit. Really, really good. And
now I've not baited Steve on anything, and Steve knows that I will probably ask a couple of questions that may be a little bit controversial, right? But I know that Steve is someone that will give an honest answer.
Yeah, so, Steve, Steve will give you an honest opinion and an answer. End of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know Steve, to be fair. So let's bring him on anyway, instead of talking behind his back. And that, Steve, where are you? Has he come on? Where's he gone? There he is.
Hello, Steve.
Hello, mate.
Welcome along, sir. I called you out a couple of weeks ago, pal. Said, come on, Steve, get yourself on, because I noticed that you was making some comments in the comments. Is that right? And something, mate, I didn't actually think you'd come on.
One, I think Chinese koi, I think, was the one that got us going.
Yeah. The Chinese koi.
Yeah.
And that it's a pleasure, mate. Number one, I don't think we've ever spoken before tonight. No. So thank you very much for coming on. I'm going to come straight out the blocks, right? Your club, right, I believe, is probably the best club in the UK. And I'm probably not going to make any fans from that. just by the amount of stuff that you do off the scenes. And I'm probably going to get some crap from like the North of England Koi Club and the Yorkshire Koi Club and the Great British Koi, but actually, I mean, I know quite a few members from Crouch, and they are always talking about stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
So, straight out the blocks, why do so many clubs struggle to attract new members, unlike you?
Well, you better ask Paul up in the northeast, right?
Well, why do you think it is though, mate? Because
I jest because I was in Japan with Paul at the end of last year, so yeah,
it's a good club,
we
mate.
shared a few stories. I don't know, right? I mean, there's obviously the, YouTube debate. Everyone now can get everything online, blah blah blah. But I think for me, and I can't really speak for other clubs because I don't know what they do. The only club I'm really probably close to is the Southeast with Dave Brown and the guys.
Good club.
We've recently done a couple of events where we've come together. So I was short on numbers for an event, gave Dave a shout, and did you want to get involved? So we've done a couple of things together, which has been really useful. I think in the post BKKS days, clubs have got to try and stick together. And probably Dave Brown's CoinNet with all of the clubs listed in the back is the only way you really know what other clubs are out there.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I guess for us, we're lucky in that we've got a pretty strong committee. I think there's like 9 of us on the committee who all pull our weight. We've got a good show team led by Al Hurley. There's probably 6 on the show committee. Everyone does their bit. No one's a passenger on the committees really. There is probably a good nucleus of members who get behind things that go on. With a bit of nudging and cajoling, we get enough people to set the show up and run the show and stuff. But I think you kind of hit the nail on the head when you said people talk to you about everything that goes on. So we, as a committee, strive really hard to have a full calendar. So most months we either have a speaker who comes in or somebody in the club steps up. Last month I was talking about treating parasites because we didn't have a speaker. So we went through that. And we try and run the events. So we are determined to run a show every year. So when I joined the club, it used to be a closed show. I hear comments on YouTube, right, about the Scottish shows in a garden show, and that's the way it should be done. When I first joined the Crouch, guess what? It was in the garden show. You didn't pay to come into the Crouch. You didn't pay to come into the Crouch show. You paid to come into the garden show, and we were there as an added attraction. And they provided all our electric generators and everything, and they gave us a wad of tickets that we used to sell to get people into the garden shows. That's how it was. And then I can't remember when we sat down one year and tried to move back into be an open show when we were at the Barley Lands, not at the current venue. And we did that for a couple of years. Small venue, indoors. Wasn't the greatest venues where we used to have our auctions, but it was in a barn, so not much natural light. We played with electric lights on every vat one year, gave that a go. Got to give it at least every vat had the same lighting, rather than you're near the door, you got a bit of light, you're over here, you haven't. So we tried that. And then I think some people are aware that for a couple of years we couldn't have a show. The local authority got into no selling fish, pet license doesn't apply where you are. The problem we had was the venue we were using for the show, there was a reptile show and the old animal rights went in and they weren't keeping them right. And the local authority just went, that's it. And then it took a lot of to and fro-in. They let us have the auction because they didn't deem that as dealers selling. It was hobbyists passing on surplus koi, like you breed guppies, you got a lot, you can sell them on, but they didn't treat it as a fair. And then over time, they started to realise that, they know it was okay. So we gradually got back to where we are with the show. But as a club, we've always said we must run a show because it's a great event. until we changed venue, we always used to have a club barbecue after this show. It was a good social as well as running a show. But it's about promoting the hobby. A lot of our members come through the show. Like, people come along, they see what's going on, they ask. You know, we never sign anybody up there and then. If you want to join the Crouchies, come along for a couple of meetings, see if you like us, see if we like you. It's not an automatic. You can join the club, you know. So, you know, we've had our fingers burnt over the years. And so, you know, we might sometimes do a bit of quiet due diligence behind the scenes. Like, you know, has anybody heard of this person? Yeah, he was trouble at another club. Well, guess what? You're not coming in. You know? But we try and run a calendar. You know, this year, what have we done this year? Literally, we were at SKS on, I think it was the 2nd of January. Snow was on the ground, but we were there because, you know, I spoke to Andrew and Chris. If you come on that day, it's the first day we're opening after Christmas. You can see all the new shipment. You can bowl what you like. But that was a special event, you know. Dave knows he supplied the Grow and Show last year. Chris at SKS did it this year. We have a Grow and Show every year. And we don't make it really, really expensive. You know, some of the clubs out there try and do a Grow and Show. I saw one on YouTube, like, oh, these were really good. They only cost us 400 quid each. It's like, if I try and do a Grow and Show at 400 quid, my guys would go epileptic. Yeah,
yeah, that's very true, mate.
Three years ago, they were 90 quid, and it was a bit of a, you know. So you've got to balance it right, because you know, we're not doing a Grow and Show to buy, you know, great fish that are going to be in a show. You know, it's a Grow and Show. It's a bit of fun. Who can grow the biggest? Who can develop the best? You know, let's have a bit of fun. So we do that. We do a lot of out and about. You know, Dave knows we've been up to him. You know, we were up at SKS again to pick up the fish. So we do get out and about. We try and meet up with other clubs. Last year we did an exchange with the South East. The year before it was with South Hants. This year our calendar's so full that we don't think we can do an exchange visit. So instead, half a dozen guys are going to open up their ponds, 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, barbecue afterwards. So we have a very busy, active calendar, and we try and cater for all types of koi hobbyists. So we got a guy in the club who built his pond during COVID. Actually, he just didn't renew this year. Built his pond during COVID. It's a little sleeper type tank, you know. I think it's 1,000 gallons. He's got half a dozen small fish. He's welcome to the club. He comes along. He's learned. He comes to the beginners' day, you know. He actually entered our show, and he won prizes because, you know, he's only got half a dozen small fish, but they're good small fish.
Yeah,
you know. So he went home with prizes. So you know, you haven't got to be, you know, spending a bloody fortune and growing big fish and being silly about it.
No, you have. You have, mate. Honestly,
Steve,
you sat round with 3 dealers. You've definitely got to spend as much money as you can.
Steve, do you have to live within a certain area to join your club? No stipulation, or
we've got so we've got some members that are in Kent. Yeah. We do let them cross the Thames and come along. We've got I think we've got a guy up in Suffolk.
Oh right,
okay. He's up, I can't think what it is, but across the A14, Stone Market Way. So yeah, we've got them, they're spread about. The only trouble if you're there is like, we might not be doing it this year, but most years we have a garden show. And by that, I mean, we run there you go, Crouch member coming on. So the garden show is like, not everybody wants to bring their fish to a show. We know that, right? The whole not up to it, scared of doing it, etc. The garden show we run is myself and Keith Bertie, BKKS judge, who's been a Crouch member for donkey's years. We'll go around to 20 gardens, 20 members' gardens, 6 fish out. We bench them. Keith judges them on the day. I video and photograph them and let Keith have that as a backup. And then we put the whole thing together as a presentation. And we have all the trophies, GC, mature, the whole lot, all the way down. So, and what we also do in that is something I'd love to see done on the show scene is we do kind of like they do in Europe or sometimes in Japan with the A and B, right? Is we have prizes for Go-Sanki and non-Go-Sanki. So we put
good idea.
Across the sizes, we put all the Go-Sanki together, and we include Tancho and Ginrin. And then all the non-go Sankey together. So you have a size 1, size 2, size 3 in all of those categories. And then we have baby and so on. Sort of law, most of the time the champion prizes go to Go Sankey, but not always. But by doing that, people who have got non-Go Sankey, they're in with a shout of winning the prize.
I mean, Matt Stevens has just piped up a couple of minutes ago. He really liked the grand champion of Crouch last year.
Yeah.
And the reason why he likes that, guys and girls, is because he won it. Right. So, and Paul Cunningham has also butted in and said that he's going to give me a kicking.
I mean, in fairness,
that's my show on the poster this year.
I did visit the show last year, and it did look nice.
Yeah. And by winning, Matt had his toy painted on a special plaque after the show. So,
yeah, I've seen that actually on a Facebook post. That was that who does? Are you still doing the images on a plaque, Steve? Yeah,
nice.
So who does those, mate?
This year is at Surrey. It's Donna's Koi Art.
Yeah,
I saw Donna on Facebook many years ago and approached her about would she be interested in doing it. We even invited Donna along to the show, but it was too much for her. She didn't want to do it on that scale.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, so Donna agreed to do them. The previous couple of years, Koi Water Barn, Keith Holmes, bless him, may he rest in peace, had sponsored all the trophies, all the majors. And I went up to Keith and I went, I'm going to push my luck. Instead of these little plastic trophies, I want a set of these wooden ones. And this is how much it's going to cost. Will you cover it? At cost. Something we do with our show, as Dave knows, is like, we don't try and profiteer from everybody. So like, Dave's great shirts this year, right? We don't go, can we have money for shirts? Can we have money for shirts and work out, well, actually, if we get this much money and we'll make a profit on the shirts, we just say to a dealer who supports us or is interested, and we've done it for the last 5 years, would you like to supply the shirts? You supply the shirts, here's the logo. And, most years it's like, the guys at Shosha did it a couple of years back. They've got shirts with Shosha on, and all we asked them to do was stick our logo on and the show year. So they know they're not being profiteered on. If they can go and get a deal, great, supply them at cost.
I mean, this was the question I was going to ask, because how much is it to get into your show, Steve? £0. Which I've never really quite understood how much. Well, I understand how much it costs to get a show off the ground, right? But how do you manage it without entrance fees, man?
It was tough getting started, right?
Yeah.
So when we used to run the show at Barley Lands, there was an entrance fee. When we moved to Buckhatch at the Garden Centre, it was a case of, we got a pretty good deal on the venue. The venue comes with all the electric, but we have to supply our own water. But it's in the Garden Centre, and it was a case of, you can use the venue. This is what it will cost you. You can't charge people to come in. Now, you may think that's impossible to do, but we budget. We manage to cover the core costs of running the show by what we charge the dealers and what we charge for our vats. And we don't charge a fortune for those either. So
no, I'm aware.
Our vats are 40 quid, right? Now we can do that because the venue isn't as expensive as some of the others. I mean, I saw the guys at the Great British the other day, 65 quid, but they've got bloody great barns to pay for. We don't have that.
Yeah, they've got a huge overhead.
Yeah. So we try and make sure that the money we recoup from 25 vats at 40 quid and what we charge the dealers, and we only have a dozen dealers, is sufficient to cover the basic costs. But then we're really, really lucky in the relationships we have. So like I say, Dave supplied the shirts. In the past, Dave and Kate have supplied all of our airline, all of our airstones and so on. Koi Water Barn sponsor the major trophies. Matt at Clearwater, we use an ammonia binder in all of the vats.
Good.
We still do water changes. But on top of that, we use ammonia binder because that way, if something's going on, it's being locked up. So by the time you've spotted it, it hasn't done any damage. So we talked about this earlier. We may come to it later. I had a fish spawning a few years back, all the way through the show. It won GC, and the reason it won GC is Dave from the southeast, who kindly comes along and helps us with the show. He was slinging that ammonia binder, going like it was going out of fashion. Alan Hurley must have had a heart attack at how much it was costing, but it was going. It was going, and it kept it going. So yeah, so like Matt's a really great sponsor.
Dr. Dave.
Dr. Dave, yeah.
Yeah.
we have Dr. Dave come and do the water, and Mr. Inazuna himself comes and helps us with the benching. So we're really, really lucky with those relationships.
Steve, I think it's fair to say your show in the last few years has gone from strength to strength. Would you say that?
Yeah, it has. So when we first moved to the garden centre, we were still under that. Well, we can probably get away with a couple of wet dealers. And then it was, we can probably get away with a couple more. Like the relationship over bringing in the wet dealers was done. We were really worried last year because the garden centre had been bought by new owners. Well, what does that mean? Are we going to be able to have a show? They allowed us to have a show, but they came in with all sorts of health and safety rules and everything else. We have to get all of our dealers to supply their insurance, not just our insurance, but their insurance. Method statements, risk assessments. We have to do a whole raft of things. But as you said, Dave, you were there last year. We moved into a different greenhouse.
Yeah.
And when we measured the different greenhouse, it was a completely different shape. It was like, how's it going to fit? It was touch and go, but we got it in and it worked really well. And with a couple of tweaks this year, I think it's going to work even better. So in the old greenhouse, we used to have 28 vats. We can only do 25 in this one. So, but 25 it's a good number of vats for a small show. We could do 28, but if I did 28, we'd have to lose a couple of dealer pitches, and it's just like then it wouldn't be financially viable. So you can't do it. So we do that, and we have about a dozen dealers, and I like to think we're thinking about who we have as dealers in terms of we only have half of the show as wet dealers and the other half as dry only, because our belief is if you've got too many wet dealers in a show our size, there isn't enough money to go around. And I think the reason
I'm glad you think about that, Steve. A lot of shows, I think they don't take that little bit of advice that you've just put in there, because the footfall is the footfall.
Yeah.
Right. The more dealers you put in, if you pull in 400 or 500 people off the street,
yeah,
right, and you've got one dealer in there, that's good, because that one dealer will generally give quite a big chunk of money up front to be there to support the club. Then you put two in, that then basically divides that money into two potentially. You put three in, then you put four, and it keeps going. And that money for the dealers starts to really, really, really dissolve out. From a dealer's point, I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, but from a dealer's point, it's that has to be taken into account, because the amount of work that we put up front, the amount of stock we take off sale, the amount of conditioning that we do, the risk that we take the fish, if we're not selling anything and we're paying up front, it doesn't make it worth your while. I mean, for me, when I go to a show, I've also got to run a store at the same time, right? So, and then you take staff out of the store to be at the show, so you still got to pay the wages as well as the pitch, etc., etc. The initial outlay is quite huge for a dealer. So I'm really glad to hear that someone takes that into account when they're putting their show on.
The way I know that we've got it right is every dealer wants to come back.
Yeah.
And you don't come back if you're not making money, right? So and one or two have shared, or let slip the sort of numbers they're making, and they're doing all right. So everyone thinks of the Crouch as a tiny little show. How many people through the gate last year?
What, at Crouch? I've never been, so I wouldn't be able to hazard a guess, but I dare say
Well, I was busy when I was there.
1,000.
1,800 over the 2 days.
Wow, that's superb.
I mean, if you take 2,000, I mean, that's
that's a huge footfall for a club. How many VATs do you have, Steve?
25.
Okay, so
25
show.
Yeah. We have 25 VATs, spare VAT for a hospital tank, and then we have an auction VAT. So we set up 27, but it's 25 VATs in the show.
I must admit, Steve, I mean, obviously I haven't been able to make it for many years because you've moved it, hadn't you? You've moved it this year. And generally, a lot of the time, it's in the first week of August or there or thereabouts.
First weekend of August. We always used to make sure we coincided with a flower show at a Royal Horticultural place up the road. Yeah, because it was like, will we get a bit of footfall? Because you remember a lot of people coming from our show, right? They're not turning up for the koi show. It's a bloody good garden centre, and they happen to be in the garden centre. So you get people coming through, and a lot of the fish that get sold are the small stuff. It's all we've got a pond, but then those people, the number of people you see wandering out with nets off down from Northine and everything else, the number of people with the guys from Aquaration who are just up the road to us, so we were one of the first shows they did. The number of people that come to the show and don't realise there's something other than airstone because they don't go to a koi show. Yeah, they buy their stuff from.
Did you use Lee? Aquaration, is that the guys that come?
Brandon, he's a great guy. Brandon travelled all the way up to spend the day here to kit me out, and I can't thank him enough. He's done a great job, mate. All of his products are working absolutely on point. He's a good lad, nice boy. He's actually really knowledgeable about koi as well, if people don't realise that. He's been keeping it for a long time.
He's got some good fish, mate, hasn't he?
Yeah, he started off breeding koi. That was his hobby originally. So
he's still doing that, isn't he?
Yeah, he showed me some of the sheros that he's bred, and I've said to him, I said, maybe you want to get your pet shop license and get these things on the market, because I think a lot of people would be really interested. Really nice parent sets he's got as well.
It's all right it's all right saying that, Lee, but people don't want to sell the fish, mate.
No, that's true. Yeah, I think he just offloads them to his friends and stuff. He just does it as the pure love of it, really.
And I'm going to change gears with you, Steve. Are shows still relevant in the age of YouTube?
To my mind, absolutely.
Why?
Like how many times has Lee been filming a fish and gone, guys, you won't appreciate the size of this, or you won't appreciate, or you won't. You cannot.
What a superb answer.
That's a good
appreciate koi until you see him in the flesh.
Right. And I'll tell you what, Steve, let me interrupt, mate, because I don't think anybody could have give a better answer than that, mate.
That is good, yeah.
That is like it's the same for anyone. Even on the pictures we'll show of your fish tonight, they will not demonstrate the mass, the size, or even because of the quality of the videos that we can stream in, it doesn't show the true pigmentation or anything. No. So it gives you a "oh" moment, but in reality, it goes from "oh" to "oh my god."
As much as people will watch YouTube after YouTube and picture after picture of the fish in the All Japan, right? You do not appreciate the girth on some of those beasts in that. Those big girls, you cannot appreciate it. The first time I went to an All Japan and I saw this Sankey that you could have actually put a saddle on a road. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I came back with videos and pictures of it. It's like, but that does not reflect that bloody fish at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Can't do it. I always chuckle, guys. The number of times, you see videos of the All Japan and people over here are commenting on, oh, that was a worthy winner, or I thought that one was better. It's like, you've no idea. You've no idea because you didn't see him in the flesh.
Yeah, it's true.
Idea. You are judging what you're seeing on a video, right? And this is like our garden show. This is what we used to do a photographic, and Keith, our judge, used to pull his hair out going, is that a shimmy? Is that a spot? Is that body crooked, or is it moved at the wrong time? So we literally went to We're going to judge them in the garden. You're going to put them in a bowl. Keith's going to judge them. He's going to make all his notes. We take a video and we take a picture, and then we talk about them, right? When I put the video and the picture up in our December meeting and Keith's doing his review, the video and the photograph look nothing like each other. Nothing like each other. You know, because unless you spend ages like Liam, you know, really working on it and making sure you fine-tune the picture, whereas I just take a quick shot in the video, the colours are completely different sometimes. Completely different. So
yeah, look, like Knight's Coy says, you can't appreciate the aura of a fish unless it's live in front of it.
yeah,
Unless you live in front of it, or
yeah.
you know, I mean, I think we all.
Well, I know it's
think
controversial, right? But I think if you're going to buy a fish, you need to see it in the flesh.
It's the feeling you get. It's the feeling you get when you see these things in the flesh as well. If you're a true lover.
So many people buy them online these days. I get it, but you.
Unfortunately, Steve, it's the way of the world these days.
I know.
Everybody lives on one of these.
Yeah.
So
if you buy
fish
online, if you buy fish online, you're disappointed when it arrives. You should have got off your ass and gone and seen it in the shop.
I mean, the truth is, right, all of us go to Japan to pick our fish, right? You know, from time to time, we're in a position where we can't go to Japan, so we have to buy them from a screen.
Yeah.
Right. But they're never the same as what you do. You can never go. I mean, I speak for myself here. I don't know about Lee or Dave, but there's nothing better than pulling a pond full of fish up and picking the ones that you want to bring back with you, because that's your work. It's not what's just presented in a box to you for you to then try and sell. I mean, what do you, Lee? Come on, you're new at this, but I mean, new at dealing. You've been to Japan more than I have, right?
I mean, the only time obviously I've been to Japan quite a few times now. I'm lucky on that sort of thing. So, but I've only ever picked mostly single pieces for myself to take back to show. However, there was one particular time where I went to Nagami and I decided to pick a box of his high quality tozai, do you know what I mean? Jumbo tozai, and I selected through, you know, we had to pick up at the pond, netted it, picked it up, and it was a real buzz, do you know what I mean? It's really great. But even when I go to Ryan's now and net up one of his ponds and I'm picking out of his stock, it's still a good buzz, you know, when you're doing that. But in Japan, when I was in Nagami, it was a bit of a buzz, like, a lot of pressure though. There's a lot of pressure as well.
It is, mate. I mean, all three of us have got complete. I don't mean to disclude you from this, Steve, because like I'm talking from a dealer perspective. And I'm speaking to Dave last night. All three of us have got a completely different type of business setup, you know. And you know, Dave and yourself, Lee, will run your own business where I don't run. I run my business, but I've got a massive footfall with lots of stuff where you two haven't, you know, and it follows its different dynamic. You'll find it, Dave. Both Lee and Dave will have completely different objectives. All right, first one would be to sell fish, but you go in different paths, and for me, exactly the same. But I've got a lot of other staff to think about other than just a business as well. It's just crazy. If we was to put all the dealers down in the country next to each other and then actually show the overheads for each one of our operations and then how much money we take to Japan and I think people would be absolutely quite gobsmacked. So when you're actually going to Japan once a year for your bread and butter stuff and you get it wrong, it's absolutely heaving. A little bit like when hobbyists go and they buy that one dream fish and they get it wrong, they'll get the same issue. The only difference is they've still got a job or a business where we haven't, you know. That's the be all and end all.
I mean,
I wish I could stop at buying one when I'm in Japan.
Yeah, you need help, Steve.
I do.
I mean,
is it one of those you've got to keep feeding me moments? I mean, we all live it, mate. I said to you last night,
is good. Mate,
first year I went, mate, I was like, keep them coming.
Mate, I was just about to say that. I was the first year you came, you shared the room with me, didn't you? I was there a week before you, and I was like, Crafty, you're not ready for this. I said, what's your budget? And he whispered it in my ear, and I went, Right, okay. I said you've got to look after that because it'll go the first day. And I tell you what, at least half of your budget must have gone the first day.
Mate, I'm going to say how much it was, but it was a 5-figure sum that I went with, and I doubled it. And my God, did I get in the shit when I got back to work? You know, because once the deal's done, it's done, isn't it? You can't. But you know something, we had a good sales season that year. I ain't gonna lie, it was really good. But anyway, we digress. Steve, outside of the show, all right, and the club is not just about how many members you've got, what you do like week on week or a show. It's also about other people's ponds. Do you practice as a club going because like I can imagine your partner, I don't know if you've got a partner or whatever, but many members have got partners and they may not be so much into fish, a little bit like my missus, but they like the community aspect. Do you go and do garden like sort of visits with your club and stuff like that?
Yeah, so there's quite a few guys whose wives. There are some who've got partners who are interested. There are some whose wives come along to the events and so on. There's people like my missus who just doesn't want to know because she doesn't no interest.
Well, it's a fish, isn't it?
You know, well, yeah, it's like what are you spending money on that for? So there's all types. But yeah, so and like when, like I said, we would do the barbecue. So so we've got a barbecue coming up this year. Last year we had a cracking barbecue. Unbelievable amount. I was drunk. That was a hell of a night. Afternoon night that was. But yeah, I mean, we had the barbecue. Some of the events the wives come along to. One of the guys always organises Christmas / New Year dinner. A crowd go to, and there are also within the club, as you would expect, right? We've got 60 households, so there are small groups, right? Dave knows I go around with a couple of guys. We're up there tomorrow. There's a group that go down to Cornwall every year. The reason we were a bit light when we went to Cuttleport the other week is, there's 4 or 5 guys and their wives. They go to Cornwall for a long weekend every year. So you get that sort of subgroup.
So you do dealer visits, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Do you put a minibus on, or do you just everyone pile in cars? Or
no, we pile in cars. Minibuses are just too damn expensive these days, or too hard to organise. Over the years, we used to use coaches and minibuses and all sorts, but it just became harder and harder. And you need to get money up front off people if you're doing something like that because you're doing the outlay and it's just too much hassle. So we tend to just all jump in cars these days and meet up. More often than not, we'll meet for a breakfast somewhere on the way or near a venue. So it's that type of thing. We try and go, right, these are formal things the clubs are doing. This is a club event. Or, you know what? Social were having their Toss-Eye Day the other week. If you fancy it, we're all going up this meeting. Who's going? If there's some of you going, let's share the cars, let's share the petrol type of thing, that type of thing. So
yeah, because your club turned up at my event when I've done the growing show with the judges seminar. It was a good turnout from your club. So
yeah. Did you nick that idea off me, or did you come up with it yourself?
Absolutely not. I planned that many weeks prior. I didn't even know you'd done it, Steve, until someone brought it to my attention, mate. But yeah, I was well in the planning for that weeks and weeks in advance, as you can imagine, because getting anything out of Alan Tate is like blood from a stone, mate. To be quite honest.
We should come on to that one in a minute as to why I did it and where the idea came from, because I'd love to talk about this judging in Japan versus judging in the
UK. Let's address it now, Steve.
Can I just ask one quick question before we move on?
Go on.
There's obviously been a lot of talk in the last couple of weeks about who can show, who can't show. What's the Crouch Valley's approach?
Policies.
Yeah.
So we've had this. So we've had this. So it was. I can't remember. Not last year, year before. It was the last show we had in the other greenhouse, where somebody, an outsider, it's an open show, took a vat. Seemed a bit odd when they turned up, and their mate was with an IBC on the back, and he was telling us about all these yellow monkeys he had and everything else, and talking about the size of his setup. And then after we did the prizes, the next thing we know, he's on Facebook, and you know, the guy's got this huge, great setup, sells koi. You know, it's like, you're a dealer. You know, luckily he didn't win a significant prize. We also had that year, it must have been a rotten year, we had somebody who we suspected didn't own all the fishing of that. Had a relationship with a dealer or something and was dropping fishing just because of a conversation that was overheard. So it's like, right, you can't police it, and you've got to be really careful about who makes the decision. So we sat down as a committee, and what we decided to do, and it's in our exhibitor pack that everybody gets if they want to show before they sign up. And in our exhibitor pack, it says, this is our definition of a dealer. And if you meet this definition, you shouldn't be showing. And if you are entering our show, there is a statement on our VAT form that says, I've read those definitions and I'm not a dealer. Simple as that. So we put the onus on the individual, and we just say to people, look, we asked them, we gave them a definition. You know, if they lied and we find out afterwards, well, obviously we won't bring them in again. But we try and put some criteria around it. And also we try and put some distinctions between what's a dealer and what's not a dealer. And by that I mean, for example, one of our definitions of a dealer is if, as a sideline to your hobby, you constantly do pond clearances and you sell those fish on, as far as we're concerned, you're a dealer. You are making an income from buying and selling fish. However, if you're a hobbyist who buys a consolidated box or buys a box of Shiros, grows them on, keeps the best 2 or 3, and then sells the rest, you've done one box. It's fine. If you're buying 6 boxes, more boxes, then sorry, you are making an income from buying and selling koi. So we've got those sort of definitions. And all we have to say is you sign a statement to say you're not a dealer by those definitions. So
all right. So I work for a company. I don't own it. All right. Am I a dealer?
You would be classed as a dealer by our definitions.
Yeah.
And quite rightly so. I agree with that.
I agree with that.
It's you know, we had a dealer who used to come, local dealer used to come to our show, and the lad who worked for him was desperate to show, and it was like, sorry, you can't. Right, you have got access to all those fish, and regardless of whether you are dipping in the pond and bringing something or whatever, you have to make sure it's an even playing field, you know. And for everybody else, they will suspect that you've got access to fish, and you might bring something from the shop, win a prize, and you just can't do it. You know, we've got to make it as fair as possible and not have a load of grief. Because if you don't make it as fair as and you get a load of grief, the hobbyists don't want to come back next time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
you know?
And that's the people we've got to look after, mate.
It's unfair, you know.
Well,
Funny enough, Dave and I have this conversation about the All Japan and the way the All Japan's going, because I don't think the All Japan is an even playing field anymore. The way it's going. And, yeah, unless you've got your fish for Ryuki, you know, you might as well forget about trying to win.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, you know, I'm sour grapes, right? My last fish in the show lost out to the man from Del Monte who bought his fish through Ryuki. And if you'd have been there last year, the man from Del Monte was probably getting a bit pissed off by the man from America. Who bought all the previous year's winners and put them back in. So it's
It is a massive numbers game in Japan.
To me, the All Japan has lost its appeal in terms of trying to compete. You know, if you want to compete in the All Japan, you know, I understand people like who want to buy, you know, they'll buy fish through Ryan, right, Lee? And you know, but a lot of those go through Ryuki.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and
the difference is Ryuki takes the fish, he conditions the fish, and he puts them in the show. Most of the small breeders in the Gata, they don't do that. The fish I entered in the All Japan sat in cold water from the minute it was harvested to the minute it went to the All Japan, and it suddenly rocks up against one that Ryuki's put in, and it's bigger and better. You know, you don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
But a lot of those people, if people are buying those small fish off Ryuki or that type of thing and putting them in the All Japan, they need to go with their eyes wide open. You know, because it might not be what it says on the tin. You know,
okay. You've got experience, so haven't you?
A lot of those bright small fish. Do you really think they're toss eye? Or are they small held back male Nisai. Because that happens.
Bonzo.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah.
And, you're buying at a distance. I mean, if you're buying through Ryan, all well and good, right? He's seen the fish, If you're just saying, oh, I've seen this fish that Ryoki's, Ryoki always puts these fish up, doesn't he? Available for the young koi show.
Oh, yeah.
If you just go and buy that, the guy, you could go to Dave and buy that fish.
Yeah.
Well, Dave's never seen it. We talked about buying a fish in the fish or for a photo. You're just buying the video. You've no idea what you're buying.
Well, I've had after every All Japan and major showing, I always get emails saying, "Oh, Dave, I'm quite interested in this. A, can you get them koi, and B, does it stand a chance of winning? And could I get a certain variety?" And I always say to them, yes, and yes. I said, as long as your pockets are deep enough, tell me the variety you want, what size you want to win it at, and message somebody, and hey presto.
And if that's what somebody wants, if they want the experience,
yeah.
But for me, do you get the experience unless you go?
No.
Is it the same experience?
I don't think so.
If people want to do it, good luck to them. But just be wise to what you're doing.
Yeah.
When the old saying, "Baby champion never makes grand champion." If you buy a small Tosai or possibly an Nisai that's been held back for the show, what's it going to do when you get it back in your own pond? So you buy it, you win a prize, but what's it going to do when you get it home? You can't have it always sometimes. So,
Lee, you've showed in the All Japan, haven't you?
No, the junior. Junior koi show. I've only once though. It's down there. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, only once. It was really fun. Bit of a buzz actually. I quite enjoyed it.
But you went, didn't you?
You were there.
I was there. Yeah. Oh, great show. Honestly, mind blowing.
I've done it. Well, after you've got the picture, I've done it. But it was a fish that I bought in Japan.
Yeah.
And we netted it up and put it in a bowl, and suddenly they all went, "Oh, look at the quality." And someone went, "That could do well at a show." So we went for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Fish I'd seen with my own eyes, and therefore it was exciting. And it was my very first trip. Guess what? Bing, bing, bing.
Yeah. It definitely spurs you on to do it again. I mean, you can compete in these shows relatively cheaply, realistically. If you've got someone that's hunting around for good Tozai, or obviously Chibbin Nisai or something like that to go into these shows, you can compete on a relatively small budget if you know someone who knows where to look. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be that expensive, realistically.
No,
but it is one hell of a buzz when you're actually there and you got fish in those shows in Japan. I mean, you think it's exciting to do it in the Crouch or the National or the North of England, but I mean, it's the next level then, isn't it? When you're over in Japan, Japanese hobby in a Japanese show, pretty prestigious, and you feel special. It's good.
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this then, Steve, because you mentioned it earlier, right? There's a difference between the Japanese show and the British show. Right. Well, from your opinion, it is only opinion, right? What's your take on that, mate?
Well, so my frustration, I'll get on the soapbox for a minute. My frustration with it is I hear on blogs, vlogs like this, people banging on and on and on and on about how different it is with the shows in Japan versus the shows in England. And how the shows in Japan, they're judged differently because they're judged by the breeders, they're judged by the dealers, blah, blah, blah. All right. And of course, the shows in England and everywhere else, right? Is that true of all the shows in Japan?
Are you asking?
No. Well, the answer's no, right?
Oh, yeah, of course it's not. Yeah,
it's a handful. It's a handful of prestigious shows in Japan that are judged by breeders and dealers.
Yeah.
But most of the shows in Japan are hobbyist shows. They're judged by the ZNA. And the ZNA judges, right? They've got standards and rule books and everything else, which is why I said about putting those koi in a vat. When you go to the All Japan, all right, tucked away in one corner, there are 5 koi swimming around in a vat, and there's a man there with his stopwatch, and these groups come out with a bit of paper, and they get 7 minutes to judge those fish. And I was talking to Bernie Rollins, I was at the show. What's this all about? Oh, that's the ZNA. This is their seminar. So while we're here, we do this as well. So it's nothing to do with the All Japan. We just happen to actually be here and do the same thing. And they do it elsewhere as well. And he was explaining to me, so there are 5 fish in here, and there's the pictures of them. You know, they've all come from Sakai, Sankey, or whatever. All right. Now, depending on your level as a judge, you either come in here and you just judge them. He said, but the trainees have to come in. He said, and they've got 7 minutes to work out which one of those fish has got the best body, which one of those fish has got the best skin, which one of those fish has got the best pattern. And they have to do that. And then they have to say which one is the best overall. And then they go back into a room where these top guys who have been judging them for hours and hours and hours sit there and critique them. It was on YouTube recently. I could find it and share it. And they sit there and critique them. You know? So, and they're the ZNA judges going through, this is the criteria I have to do it for. And most of the shows, the hobbyist shows in Japan, like the hobbyist shows in the UK, aren't judged by breeders, aren't judged by dealers. They're judged by ZNA judges who use a very, very similar format to what our judges use over here. Alan's probably on here and can either go, Rollins, you're talking rubbish, or I know what you're on about. You know, but I talked to Bernie, you know, and Bernie even said to me, you know, he did a presentation. He went, Steve, you could come to a show in Japan, a ZNA show. You could sit there, he said, and you could help with the benching and the admin and everything else, because they do it just the same way as we do. You know, just the same. They judge them the same way. And actually, I think when I've seen some of the ZNA judges, for example, or certainly some of the overseas judges at the All England, they're much more harsher than some of our judges.
Hey, Alan Tate said spot on, Steve.
I was at the All England and I overheard a conversation where one of the European judges wanted to disqualify a Tancho Sankey that must have been 75, 80 cm because it had one red scale. One red scale. Now, does that not make it a Tancho Sankey? He was like, no, it's not a Tancho Sankey, it's got a red scale. It was like, it might be a bit of a demerit, mate, but that's a Tancho. Don't go calling it a crap Sankey.
Yeah.
Tancho Sankey with a bit of a demerit. But he wanted it out. Yeah, he wanted it out, you know.
So
you know
what is the best show scene?
I've been on the rough end of a few judging decisions. Let me tell you, right, in this country. But it's you have to take the rough with the smooth if you're going to enter the show scene. That's what it's about.
I mean, better to show in Japan or better to show in the UK?
It would be better to show in Japan if you can attend that show. Because it's just cooler, isn't it? But obviously, not many people can do that. And I think this is on our back doorstep, and it's every bit as good, mate. You know, the UK shows are great, aren't they?
Yeah. I think it's better to show in the UK. I've got the T-shirt from the All Japan. I mean, my bucket list for the All Japan was, and you've got the videos. You might want to show it later.
We'll put it on in a minute.
I won't say which fish it was. My bucket list item came from a very early show in Japan. I was looking at that with a hobbyist from the UK who a lot of people might know called Lee Manning.
Yeah.
You know, very, very successful show hobbyist over here. And he was stood at that with a guy called Peter Lewis, who's another very successful hobbyist in Japan. He owned Orca, you know, the parent at Omasaka. And there was that of Shiro, and one of them was Lee's. And it was fantastic. And Lee was a bit disappointed because it had come second, you know, but he knew the guy had won and went, fair enough. And we were talking about this Shiro, and Lee had bought it at Nisai, and I can't remember, it was 4 or 5 years old. And we were looking at the pictures and the development and everything else. And I thought then, do you know what? Rather than just buy a fish that's ready to go, I'd love to find a fish that I think could do well in a few years' time, and could it compete, you know, in a few years' time? And that's what I managed to do, or took a gamble on doing. And I really, really enjoyed it, even though, I came second.
We'll touch on it in a minute because that fish is outstanding.
That's what I enjoy.
That's what you do, though, David. Not as a dealer.
Yeah, I much prefer that. I mean, my enjoyment in Japan is to buy Tosai that I think can develop well. And if they do, and if once Nisai or Sansai, the breeder, all of a sudden says, like, which has happened in the past, we think this is good enough to go to a show, then great. I think it's far too easy in many ways. There's going to be people disagree, but I think it's quite easy as long as, like Steve alluded to, you've got deep enough pockets to go and buy that prize from a catalogue. Or, you know, there's going to be people.
The thing for me, Dave, is when you look at the All Japan, right? When you travel around Nagata, and I've said this many times, there's a lot of breeders lock their fish away from him.
Yeah.
Because what tends to happen is Ryuki is so powerful over there, and he's got an endless pit of money that he literally buys all of the competition up.
Literally,
you know, and then he sort of becomes a little, in my opinion, and I don't want to poo-poo anyone. I've taken part in the All Japan Koi Show,
I have.
Right, you know, but when you look at the demographic of it, and you look at the players, you've got the man from Del Monte. I'll use Steve's terminology because I don't want to call names out, but you got the man from Del Monte, which is starting to fizzle off a little bit. You got Herbert, is American, all right. And when you look at how many fish they enter, just those two people, their bill must be astronomical just for show fees, let alone the fees that they buy the fish for. And then there's little old you come along, i.e. me or Lee, put a fish in, and if you place, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
But the award system out there, if you're not taking a special prize like your Sakura or your Kakugyo or a major, right? Bronzes are handed out like pieces of paper. Silvers are the same. Golds are all right. You've got a little bit better fish there, but even with your Sakura prizes, that they are like friendship awards. And if you take a champion, that's good, but it's really so political. You know, and if Ryuki don't win, my God, he gets an arse on.
Yeah. You know how many awards there are at the All Japan?
Mate,
Roughly.
I fucking dread to think. Hundreds.
1,800 awards.
That don't. But people don't understand that aspect, Steve, do they? You know, because at the end of the day, the breeders want to sell them fish for good money, and they are good fish. You know, a majority that go in, not all of them, a majority, they are good. But like you said, is it good for just now, or has it got future potential? And that is a competition fish at the end of the day. You're entering that competition, and that's what you're paying for.
I mean, if
you're going to enter big fish in the All Japan, brace yourself.
I mean, a lot of people don't realise the entry fees, do they? I mean, we do hear some people moan about what that costs to show in shows here. I'm not
for some reason.
I'm not saying it to brag, but just so that people know, right? So, the size of the vat you have is judged by the size of the koi, right?
Yep.
So, the koi I entered was in 75 boots. The biggest size you have to have the biggest vat, right? And obviously, you can only put fish in that vat from the same breeder. Yeah. Of course, I only have one fish from my breed, so I had to pay for the whole vat for my one fish. Flip side, given the quality of the water of the All Japan show, by the end of the show, it was a good thing for the fish. Yeah. £800.
Yeah.
Okay. I expected it to be more. I've seen
transport
Ryan's bill for the
plus
transport.
Oh no, plus the handling fee for the
handling fee. Sorry,
yeah. Not much change out of the ground. So
yeah,
to enter one fish.
I've seen Ryan's bill for the All Japan Koi Show with the number of entries he puts in.
It's fine with
massive.
It's fine with a small fish because you get lots of them in a little vat and so on. But as soon as you go up that big end, the cost of those vats which is like I say, when you talk about a Herbert and the number of fish he had in, the bill must be astronomical. But
something, he didn't even take anything worth taking. For the amount of fish that he put in, he must have been really devastated. I would have been for the amount of money that he's thrown into that ring. But then we've got the UK show scene.
Yeah.
All right. Which is a completely different competition, right? Done on completely different merits where, like you said, Steve, you buy it, you bring it back, you develop it, and then you choose when to show it when you think it's ready. All right. For me, that is by far more beneficial than putting a big chunk of change onto one fish that most of the time people never see until they bring it back home. Having the ability to bring a fish on, develop it, and take a major like Lee has, like yourself have, Steve, like you have, Dave, as well, and me actually. So we're all award winners. That is by far more appealing to me because you've done something to earn something, and this is where I think that the Japan versus the UK scene are miles apart, right? And they're completely different competitions for completely different aspects of what koi keeping is.
Because we are comparing our shows with those big four shows, not with the hobbyist shows in Japan.
Correct.
I agree. You were comparing our shows with a hobbyist show in Japan, they would be very, really similar, right?
Yeah, totally right.
Hobbyist does in Japan, but you don't see it because all we ever go on about is the all Japan and reels. We don't see all those little shows going on all over the place. That are
there's loads. There's loads. I've driven around the mountains a few times and stopped off on the small little district shows with, let's say 25 to 35 vats, which is pretty much the average size of a UK show, aren't they?
Yeah.
And but I'll be honest with you, you walk around the vats and the quality is absolutely outstanding as well. They've got them in the little, like there was one right by Miatora's actually, and all the
in a little car park.
Yeah, just in a car park. But you just turn up, and I was with Evo. Said, "Oh mate, stop there. There's a show. We've got the quality is outrageously good. Fair dues to them,
Yeah, I've been down to the Fukuoka one down south, and it's again incredible quality there. Yeah, and very nice shows. I think very good.
Awesome. The little ones I'm on about, they're literally on the side of the road. They got tarps down. And there's a couple of dozen people walking around, and I mean it's incredible. I love it.
And a few fishing bags.
Loads on those little bags. There's small little ones. It's absolutely airtight. Well, obviously airtight, but they're blown up to the max. Love those little bags. Actually, they're really cool.
The smallest things, mate.
Mate, it is. But I can remember the junior koi show a couple of years ago. We're talking about Ryuki, yeah. So the difference we're talking about with Ryuki and other breeders over there is, you'll see the number one truck pull up, and then he'll have a dozen staff members ready there with all the kit on, and they've got a vat and it's heated to 18 degrees. So, and then these fish get taken off, they get rebagged, and it's like, and you've got all these top breeders like Yamaguchi and Koi Bokuju, all his
Kobayashi's there.
Kobayashi, getting everything down, and there's like a factory. I mean, I think they're the only ones that actually put the preheated water and all in. I mean, it's the next level, really, isn't it? They do. I mean, it is an amazing operation, Ryuki's place. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So our viewers have sent in some comments and questions. First and foremost, Paul Williams, mate, I hope everything goes well. I ain't going to touch anything more on that, mate, but I wish you all the best. Paul states, how are you, Mr. Rollins? So obviously a friend of yours.
Well, I think I'm surviving so far, mate.
Anthony
I'm
Hooper
upset
says,
but maybe someone who's watching, I'm upset.
Anthony Hooper writes in, some of your members' ponds are stunning, and I would agree. I've seen a few on pictures when the lads are in the shop, and I must admit, I think. Well, I'll come back to a question on this in a minute for you, Paul. All right, Rachel, just into the hobby. So when we was mentioning earlier about like the other half not bothering, well, Rachel and her other half, Matt come in. He's just started to get in the hobby. He's got the bug, but his missus then started, and he was in the shop last Friday, and he said, "It's bloody real, this, isn't it? I get a hobby. Now she's picking all the fish." But there's nothing better than having a missus and a Mr. and Mrs. that are involved in the same hobby, right? But she wears the trousers, so all the bling starts popping up, How would you become a member, Steve, at your club, mate?
I'll answer that question in a sec, but I won't name the name of the member in the Crouch Valley. But last year we went round for the garden show and we did half a dozen fish in their pond. And it turned out the 3 that were any good and won a prize were all picked out by his wife and not him. So that was
good. Like that.
Yeah.
So he put the penny on and was doing the barbecue afterwards. Yeah. That's
Rachel, for us, if you jump on the website, there's a members link which has got all the details about the club, and you can contact Darren Heppel, who's our membership secretary. He'll give you all the info. Like I said earlier, we ask people to come along and see if you like us before you join. So it's not, sign up, come along to a couple of meetings, see if you like us, see if we like you, and then you can sign up.
Steve,
come along to the show.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
Is it fully booked this year, Steve?
The show was fully booked. We were oversubscribed on dealers. Believe it or not, we've got dealers on the waiting list. Kicking the door down to get a pitch, but we just haven't got the room. And like I said earlier, even if we did, we like to manage wet versus dry. We had sold all the vats. We had a waiting list for the vats. A couple of people pulled out, and the waiting list took them up. And then Paul Williams, sadly, as you saw, was who said hi. Paul's having a hip hop, so he's hip hop. So he's got to have an operation. So he's sadly just had to pull out, which is a great shame. And I think it's the attraction of the Crouch, right? Paul lives in Cheshire.
Yeah.
Coming to the Crouch. We have Ian Jenkins, and we have another guy. I can't remember his name. Used to be the treasurer of the BKKS. They live in Wales, and they come and exhibit at the Crouch. Because,
so you have a spare.
I think that's Rodri, isn't it? Isn't it Rodri from the
Rodney?
Rodri,
yeah. So again, showing again this year. So
right. So how many vats have you got available, Steve?
One vat is available. Paul Williams vat is available.
So then, I spoke to Steve prior to the show. I obviously knew the answer to that question. I am willing to sponsor that vat for you, Steve. I would like to offer it out to anybody in the audience that want it. I will pay it. I do this probably 2 or 3 times a year. Hopefully for someone that hasn't showed, but it doesn't matter to me. If you're interested, all I want you to do is just put yes in the comments, and then I'll work out a way towards the end of the show who gets it. And I've done this before, and only one person took it. And I ended up getting the best newcomer at the Young Koi show the year before last. So if you want to get into it, get across. I'll pay for that vat, Steve. I'll send you over the money, mate.
Lovely, thank you. We have a little treat for all our exhibitors this year, which is every exhibitor gets a one-off mug for the show.
Does it say I shown at Crouch Valley 2026?
It says Crouch Valley Koi Show 2026 exhibitor. The only people that get them are the exhibitors.
That's a pucker little thing. That's a nice little touch.
Yeah,
that is.
Whether you win a trophy or not. And actually, this is an interesting thing. Last year, every vat had a fish that placed first, second, or third. Everyone had something that placed somewhere, which was really great.
And not to sort of pry, but if you're after a Becco, I've got a couple of good ones because they generally do take a place. Don't go to Dave; he's a shit, and Lee don't count. So only me. I'm just saying.
Beware though. Most of the Crouch members are onto that one.
Oh, mate, I think everyone is.
We get quite a lot of Beccos.
Mate, you might
a few Beccos as well. Who are guys?
Beccos, Kraft? Got any Beccos? Yeah, I've got one. All right. Just so they could get a ribbon, but fair play to them. Paul Cunningham has written in. He's only kidding about kicking my ass. Cross-pollination of the clubs would be a marvellous thing. And actually, I'll people know I'm a bit of a gobshite.
Remember, you said you were coming to the show, Paul.
I really believe that all clubs should support all clubs. In my opinion. It's one thing that I believe lacks a little bit. And that, for example, and it's only an example, it's not calling anyone out or anything like that. If Crouch have got a show on, I believe that other koi clubs should attend that show and support that club, and vice versa. It should be everybody turns up, like showing their own club off, but at the same time supporting everybody else.
Club
that would
meetings.
just be a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it would be.
It really, rather than having who's got the biggest dick competition, my show's better than yours. It shouldn't be like
And
that.
and you know what? The clubs have got these meetings most weekends anyway, so it's easy enough to do, isn't it?
Yeah,
Support
rather than
other-
going to a
other
dealer,
shows.
get down to a show and support what you guys all love, which is koi, and go and see what other people are exhibiting. In my opinion, again, I'm a gobshite, ain't you? Will's Koi has asked if you can just show your plaques again, please, Steve.
So, so the first year we did these, all the plaques were Kahaku. We then did Showa, Sankey. So this year we've gone with Utsuri. So these are just a couple of the examples. So all the
they're real fish, right?
Yeah. I send Donna a selection of pictures. These are fish that were in the All Japan at some point. So I tend to go through the old catalogues wherever I can and send her a selection, and then
I think I've got both of them in my pond actually.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
them exact two fish. So if
probably,
they're available,
probably gone over by now.
yeah.
and then as we say, so whoever gets GC does get one of these. They actually get a large size one of these, but then Liam takes a picture of the fish, we send it to Donna, and she paints that fish on a plaque. So
no, that's nice touch, actually.
Yeah.
It's a good touch.
It's like a poor man's version of the All Japan, where you get the big painted koi.
Yeah, mate, but at least you can put that on a wall.
Yeah. Well, A, we can't afford the koi, and B, Donna's not going to paint it overnight. So
it's not only that, mate. It's all the other guff that comes with a GC, and it's like you get a donkey with a saddle bag. There's a lifelike koi. Here's a drum. There's a basket. It's like
bag of rice.
All these gifts out. Like now you've got another £500,000 bill to ship them back to the UK. Knight's Koi. He says Crouch Valley is a show on the list to get to this year. He's heard that it's supposed to be good, so it'd be nice to take a look. I would say absolutely get out there.
Yeah,
costs you nothing.
Yeah, that's a good point. However, I dare say you'll take donations, right?
We take donations, and we would encourage you to buy a raffle ticket or enter the auction on the second day for the donated koi. That's where
awesome.
the club makes a few quid to keep it running. We cover our costs with all the VAT fees and all the sponsorship and everything else. But last year, the money we took on the raffle and the auction was the profit, if you like, that went into the club coffers. And that money's really, really important. Like over the last couple of years, so we've replaced all the VATs over the last couple of years for the show. All the brand new VATs. So this year we had to replace banners, bunting, all that sort. Last year we talked about the aeration. Aaron came around and
that's expensive, right?
He put aeration. I mean, he did us a good price, obviously, but but he turned up and did aeration. So we've now got his aeration in every VAT, which is pucker stuff. Makes a difference. Yeah.
I'm going to drop you in the shit a bit here, Steve. Right, but not intentionally. It was someone obviously knows you. NKS Genkoi. Any idea who that is?
No. But
well, he obviously knows that you don't like YouTubers.
Hated is a strong word, but not overly a fan. Might be fine.
I get it, mate. I get it. To be fair, right. Let's have a quick look. While we're on that subject, all right. Last question before we start diving into a little bit of your collection. Has YouTube helped or harmed the hobby?
I would say it's done a bit of both.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
I would say it's done a bit of both. Like, it's great to have a platform that promotes the hobby, gets people interested and so on. Unfortunately, I think there's too much poor information comes out on YouTube, inaccurate information or insufficient information. People don't explain it. It's a bit like the judging thing, right, in Japan, as I just say. All I ever hear on YouTube is about the breeders and whatever, and that's only part of the picture. So I wouldn't mind being on YouTube if there's a nice balanced view and everybody understands it. But
Yeah.
those hobbyists who don't know any better because they've never seen it for themselves or haven't heard it, think it's completely different in Japan to the UK, and that isn't the case. And the ZNA, right, is a global organisation. They're, they judge all around the globe. So it's just one example. But yeah, and also, I'm sorry, but some of the advice on fish health that comes not just on YouTube but across social media is absolutely appalling. You touched on it last week, and I jumped in, right, and said the problem is no one asks the questions before they give the advice. Which is one of the benefits.
Answering a text.
Yeah, one of the benefits of the club. If someone in the club asks a question, there's a fair chance you know something about their pond or their collection because you're familiar with it. But if not, you ask them a few questions.
Yeah.
I jump in and really. Some of the guys probably hate me. I jump in and slate them when they jump in, and I'd say, "Oh, treat it with this, treat it with that." It's like, no, you haven't asked enough questions. Yeah. And people should use their. People need to use their experience to ask the right questions.
I agree, Steve. I mean, I've been doing YouTube before I moved into the hobby, etc., and it's come a huge way. I think the right people promote the hobby. I think there's people out there that are hobbyists that know nothing more than what they say. They don't research, etc. But I think, if anything, it's a promotion nevertheless, because people will find their way. And I can understand from someone from your what's the word I'm looking for? From someone that is so like head and tails into koi, invested a lot of money, time, effort. It can become quite frustrating, and it does for me now, more than ever, if I'm perfectly honest. But you got to let people find their own way, like you did. I mean, the difference is now that, like I said earlier, things on the screen is what everyone picks up, and unfortunately, you get good and bad in everything. We was discussing this before, but it's let's have a look what people are saying.
Well, as you know, Dave had to twist me arm to come on because I'm not a great.
But you know something, mate, and you holding your own, eh?
Yeah.
And I tell you what, guys, we've got 160 people watching, right? How well is Steve doing? Let's see, is it worth Steve being on today? And are you finding what he states valuable? Let's get the feedback, right? Warts and all, right, Steve? And then what I'll do is I'll share them with you, right? No, because I think you'll be quite surprised, right?
Let me find out how many people from the crowd are on.
Well, you can't pay people off, mate.
Yeah.
This is why I wanted. This is why I wanted you to come on, Steve.
I want the Crouch people off because they were saying he's shit. Get rid of him.
Right, let's have a look. Right, so Liam Tickle, if you don't know, he's got an absolute fabulous burger van. He's awesome. Watching from the Bath. Your favourite pig farmer, probably playing with his little twisty.
If he's a pig farmer, we should all befriend him. No greater source of flubanol than a pig farmer, right?
Okay, yeah.
So Rusty Twinkle states YouTube's definitely helped to encourage more people like themselves and their wife to be or want to meet koi-liked people, right? Totally. And again, you will find someone that floats your boat and people that don't, because if we was all born to like each other, it would be bloody boring and barbecues would be busy. Colin Holland, good lad. He's just whacked a bead filter on today. Steve is bang on to many experts on YouTube, but also some great guys on there too. And YouTube is like the new koi forum, Steve. And I think that's a fair point to make.
Well, yeah. So, I remember, I mean, the koi forum for me was, I first started getting serious in the hobby when I came across Darren at Select Nishigoi, right? And they used to run a forum. The forum there was really interesting, right? It was many a Sunday was spent at Darren's with a very good coffee machine. And a group of us who would be debating a topic. That topic would then make its way onto the forum and would carry on until the next weekend and so on. But that was a really useful forum. And the beauty of that forum was it wasn't, ooh, that's a lovely koi. It was like, no, critique it properly, you know, and people weren't afraid to say what needed to be said. No. But yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, mate, when now we live in a bit more of a lefty wokey world, don't we? We're too worried about upsetting people, mate. You know, unfortunately, I don't fall into that category, which is why I'm a bit like Marmite, to be perfectly honest. But I don't care. That's the way I am. That's the way I'll always be. Rusty thinks that it's good that you're on.
Thank you.
Vince obviously loves you because he's put 100% and yes 100%, and Graham has given you a thumbs up. Far more koi, Tony, are you, mate? What some great info Steve has shared, and we ain't even got to the best bits yet. So you've obviously got a fan. Do you know Stephen Southwell?
No, can't say I do.
So there you go. What a great guy you are.
Thank you.
Paul Williams don't count, but yeah, he says you're a great guy, but he's clearly a little bit dosed up at the minute. Knight Koi says, Stephen, all the guests so far have been brilliant. Colin Holland, always a bit of a joker, has put, it's good to hear Koi Dinosaur's views, but he's only joking. He's a dinosaur himself. Rob, do you know this guy? Rob Fountain Glass Services, up there with Seabay as best guest so far.
Well, there's a compliment.
Right, exactly right. And this one certainly don't count. Yes, we need him every week, right? Get back in your hole. That's all I'm going to say. We know who you are. Michael Lawrence, I don't know if you know him, is a good lad. He reckons you're brilliant. Alan Tate's count, he's very informative and genuine, but he don't count. Matt, he's got a face for radio, and I think I'll probably agree with that. But haven't we all?
He's talking about himself.
Mate, and the comments keep coming, mate. Right, so you know, I want
new subject. Enough of that crap.
He's going to go to sleep with a big head. But you'll be starting a YouTube channel next.
Good, get it on. In fact, that is. Let's get a challenge, Steve. Right, I know. Mr. Thompson has got a little YouTube channel.
Yes,
right? You need to be on it.
Enjoy your koi.
Right, let's bring up a little fish.
Oh, I remember that.
Okay, so this is a beautiful Sankey that was bought. I'm only joking, mate, by the way. A saggy. Right, let's critique it. Right, Steve, I don't want you to say anything. All right. As first thing first, I would like how big it is on this picture, if you know.
Me?
Yes, please.
55 cm.
Right, so 55. What was this? 2 or 3 year old?
It was a Nisai, big Nisai.
Nisai. Right, cool. So, Sankey, I don't think, Asagi, I don't think people understand the Asagi. And I think we was having this discussion, Dave, on the auction on Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever I've done it, right? You've got to understand development of koi, and the Asagi are one of my best, or should I say, one of my loved fish for actually studying. And I really think if you study a Asagi, you can take quite a lot away from that as a variety, where you can then transfer it over to other varieties as well, because so much happens. If you look at this koi, we'll start at the head, beautiful, clean skin. Not a shimmy, a mark, a shade out of place. Like Dave said in the week, the cheekbones and the benny, it wraps around the top of the head or around the side of the head. And then if we was to look at, we'll see the side of the fish in a minute. And this is one question I'll have for you, Steve, just so you're aware. But the benny rising up to the lateral line, which is the middle of the flank of the fish, absolutely spot on. Benny in both pecs, anal fin, dorsal fin, and a small amount. And this sometimes I've never understood. A lot of people sort of throw it out because it's got a small amount of benny in a tail fin. Never understood that. But look at the development on a young Asagi, fairly light. There's potentially no canogin showing very strongly on a small fish. Very light blue, that then over time, when that body opens up, that backbone protrudes out, you've got those scales with a canogin creeping into the end of the scale, and then the sumi if that's what it's called, which it is, all right, you get that lovely neck pattern and overall body shape, not a powerhouse that you would see in a Gosanki, more sleek in design. And for me, that's how a Sagi should be. Out of 10, I'd give it, I'd say fin shape. I can't really see the balance of the fin on the picture, so I'm only going to judge what I'm seeing. I'd give that a 9.5. For me, absolutely stunning and probably one of the best Sankey I've ever seen on a picture. Oh, I keep saying Sankey, don't I? Yeah, a Sagi on a picture. Absolutely stunning. Steve?
Totally agree. It's
so first of all, can we call it Cadogin? Because that's what it is, not Canogin.
Okay.
Lots of people
Cado. Fair enough, mate. Yeah.
Cano's a breeder. Cado is the gin. Sorry, just to be.
My apologies if I mispronounced.
I said I'd be picky.
No, good. So, and quite rightly so for picking me up on it, mate.
Yeah. So, so prior to buying this fish, I had a Sagi that did quite well at the All England Koi Show. I.e., it was, well, Alan will possibly remember judging it as best non-go Sankey. It was best non-go Sankey 2 years on the bounce. I think it might have had 3, but COVID came in between, which was really, really frustrating because I'd really have loved to have done 3 on the bounce and matched the great Andy Baker's title of taking 3 on the bounce. But anyway, it's another story. So I sold that fish. Someone went to buy it after the show. First time I've ever made decent money on a koi, and I wanted to replace the Asagi. I wanted to go again. And Darren Simmons from Select went to Japan 3 times, kept sending me pictures. Not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. I went on a trip. We went on a bit of an Asagi hunt. We went around all the dealers you would associate with Asagi. We had the luxury of jump in the truck. We're going to go to the hidden koi house and so on. Still couldn't find one. We rocked up at Yamaju. Yamaju's main koi house is bloody hard to see the fish. It's indoors. It's as dark as hell. Got a bloody great big pond. And swimming in the pond was this Asagi. And I was like, that one. It was like, hang on. Yamaju-san, we'd like to buy Asagi. What do you recommend? And 3 went into a bowl, and this one was still swimming around in the pond. And it's like, yeah, they're nice, but it's not this one. So I pointed at this one, and it was like, not sure if it's for sale. I think it might be going to the auction. You need to wait for my son, because by then the son had taken over the farm. The son arrives, it's for sale. It goes in the bowl. It's in with the other 3. As far as I was concerned, this was the only one in the bowl. The skin and shine on it. The others were good. This was just fantastic. And then I heard the price. And it was like, yeah, I need to think about it. It was a very, very, very steep price. And it went back in. And later in the trip, I found another Asagi. This was 55. The other one was 65. It was a Sansai. It was lovely. Wasn't this quality, but it was far less money. And so, went, there they are in the bowl. So, yeah. So you can see, look at them. They're all good fish. But look at this. Look at this. So I walked away from it, but it was nagging and nagging and nagging at me, right? I got back in the UK, and it was nagging and nagging and nagging at me. And in the end, I asked Darren to send his agent back to look at buying it. And the bad news came back. No, the dealer's decided it's too good to sell. He's going to keep it.
Now the price has gone up again, right?
But to cut a long story short, the dealer did the business. We got it at the original price. I went and sold, as some of the Crouch guys will know, because they probably bought them, quite a lot of koi out of my pond to fund the purchase. And it stayed as a kari, because I mentioned earlier the story about Lee buying a Nisai and leaving it and going to the All Japan. And I just went, I think this is All Japan quality. And the answer came back, it absolutely is. That's why he didn't want to sell it in the end. And so it stayed. It came out after a year. It had gone from 55 to, I think it was 72. It was like, wow, you know. Certainly around the 71. Yeah, it just broke 70 for a 55 for an Asagi. It's like, wow. And I asked about it going to a koi show, and the response from the breeder was not dark enough, not blue enough. So we went again, and it went back out. At which point I really was crapping my pants because, of course, both this time it was at my risk. This isn't buying a Tosai and they'll guarantee it's female and guarantee death and all that malarkey. It's like it's at your risk. So, and by now I was really into the Azakari fees as well, right? But back it went, and then it came back out, and you know the message came back. She's really, really good. She's 74.5. Do you want to put it in the Nogi Osai because we think it's good enough? Yes, please, let's do that. They missed going to the Nogi Osai because they didn't get the paperwork in time. And then we said, well, is she good enough for the All Japan? And it was like, yeah, she is. She's ready. And she's 74.5. So she's bang up on 75 boo. And so that's when I got to tick that little item off the bucket list of finding a koi that I thought was good enough, growing it and sending it to the All Japan. And unfortunately, the man from Del Monte and Ryuki turned up. I was actually.
We'll cover them in a minute, Steve.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to bring that. I want to bring that other video. Those other videos up.
I was at the All Japan on the Thursday when all the fish were coming in for benching. Actually, that year I was even there on the Friday for judging day. I got accredited by Dave Brown to write something for his CoinNet. So I was there on the Thursday as they all came in, and I saw the other one come in, and I thought, oh shit, you know, you could tell that you had some competition, but there was a good. I know you're going to do the comparison, so I won't talk about the conversation of the UK guys were there between the qualities of one and the qualities of mine, and you know which they felt was the better one. So, but ultimately, I came second. We can talk about why it came second.
Steve, is it this one that's just on the left of the screen now?
This is yeah.
So, you know, just for the sake of the viewers, right, from your perspective, why did you pick that one over the other four?
Well, if you think the skin on this one looks good in the video compared to the other two, let me tell you, in the bowl, there was no competition, right? The others were all really, really good, right? There is, you know, you can look at them. You know, the one just disappearing off the bottom is a bit slender and skinnier, you know, but the other two, you know, you can then start going, well, you know, there's demerits and so on. But it was reflected in the price, right? Those others were nowhere near the price.
Yeah.
You know,
did he elevate the price because he really didn't want you to buy it? Is that because the Japs are really good at that?
Possibly, right? I mean, he gave me the price. I mean, the fish was worth the money.
Absolutely.
The fish was worth the money. I mean, I'm still not going to tell you what it was, but
well, people have already guessed, mate. Colin Holland's already said it was 80 quid in one of my auctions.
You know, but it was just the skin on it was just gleaming. And like I said, I can't remember. I think we might have been chatting before we came on air about, you know, koi shows and what do you think is the most important thing in a koi show. And to me, the most important thing when I'm getting fish ready for a koi show is try and get the skin looking good. You know, I know Alan's on here, but like, you know, to my mind, if you want to catch a judge's eye in a vat, make sure your skin pops.
Fabulous koi.
Look at the skin on that against those other three in that bowl.
I wish I could pause it there so you could see a like-for-like comparison.
Yeah, you know.
But, I mean, that just shows the development from when you've seen it in a bowl to when it was ready to go and show, right? You know, it's worlds apart. And I just really wish that people understood Asagi more, because I think that there's so much learning in Asagi. I mean, what's your thoughts on it, Steve?
I really like an Asagi. I mean, you know, the golden rule I've always been taught on Asagi is buy them light blue. Buy them light blue because when they come over, you know, darken up. If you buy especially if you buy cheaper sagi. If you're buying cheaper sagi and you buy them already dark, they're going to go black, you know. So think about where you're buying them from. Buy them light blue and take the punt, right? You've got to be brave with koi. It's like people say, what's my favourite variety? My favourite variety is shower. Like, I love watching a shower develop, and it'll either do something remarkable or it won't, but just enjoy the journey with it, right? And with an asagi, buy it light blue, buy it with the benny just starting to come, make sure that it's got some benny come in, and then cross everything and hope it does the right thing in your pond. But it's much better to buy one and watch it develop into a good fish than buy one that's already dark and finished and watch it go darker and darker and darker.
and fall off a cliff. Totally agree.
You know,
I mean,
right.
but listen, that's my view, right? Everybody has a different view. If you want to buy a finished one and see it as it is and take a punt, it's going to stay, then great. You know?
Steve, I think what's interesting, and me and Crafty were talking about this the other day, that even though you've admitted all of them were very, very nice and really, really good quality, but when you see that koi with that extra skin quality, people say they often ask, what do you mean? But it's hard to describe, but you just see it, don't you?
In my opinion, it's one of the hardest things to explain to somebody without having two fish side by side, one with good and one with bad, so you can actually show the difference.
Yeah.
You know, because the picture does, like, I mean, to be fair, the moving image on screen will not give the real quality of them fish nowhere near. It would probably downgrade them quite a considerable amount. But let's bring up this. So you've got an asagi here, right? Now this is a little bit later on, maybe. Right, I'm not gonna spill any more beans, right? But you can see on the lateral lines of this fish, right, that the benny encroaches all the way up to the lateral line, especially from that photo point there. And then we've got this fish, okay, where the benny is super rich. The Cadogin, absolutely outstanding. Steve, here's a question from me to you. All right, when we look at these two fish, they've both got that light area along the lateral line. Okay, where the benny doesn't reach like the top of the scales.
Yeah.
Demerit or not demerit?
Ooh, that's not a question for me. That's a question for Mr. Tate or someone on here.
Yeah, I just wondered if you knew, that was all.
No,
Does it take away from the quality of the fish?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay, guys,
I can compare the two, but ask everybody else first. Yeah.
Right. So, people in the comments, I know we've got comments coming in. We'll come back to them. Right. Vat number 1 is the one that you're seeing on the screen now, or fish number 1. Fish number 2, right, is the one that you're seeing on the screen now. In your opinion, which koi is the best out of the two? I don't want you to be biased based on, you know, if you understand who the fish belongs to. Just looking at the fish, which one floats your boat more than the other? So I'll let this play through a couple of times. While you're looking at them fish, that other fish in there is a load of crap in it. Just don't do it any justice.
I was going to say, this two will have a safe instead.
It's just evil at it. This hobby is evil, man. This is it, vat number 1. So vote 1 or vote number 2. And then we'll go to Steve and ask him to confirm what the judges picked out on the day. I think he's already covered it. So if you're listening carefully, he'd already told you. But look at that.
Do you know what? I think a lot of them as well. That obviously they're two different videos, but the light in this particular video is making this koi absolutely shine. The other one's probably in the All Japan under fake light. Is it this one? Oh well, obviously, yeah, you can see it. That
Yeah,
might
there is-
be contributing to it a lot as well.
Yeah, there is
And
there is another video, but it's a bit long, and I don't think Crafty had the
Yeah.
chance to put it
is
out
there
there.
another video, Steve?
Yeah, there's one of a soggy being released out of the bag,
Yeah.
Hang on a minute.
which will really,
Is
which
it
will
this
really
one?
give the game away.
I think I have got that. Let me just check this because I'm having to juggle 150 different screens. So.
Well, like you say, if you were listening to me earlier and how much I paid for a single coin of that, you'll have had a clue as to which one it isn't.
Yeah.
Let me just put that other one on and see whether or not this is the same video. That's the same video.
Yeah,
It's the one coming out the bag, Steve. Is that correct?
yeah, that's the other one.
I think that was.
I tried to shorten the other video, but I didn't have much luck.
This one is where you're picking two out of a bowl. It's not in that one, is it?
No, it's a video
It's
of
the
a toy.
one coming out the bag, isn't it? But
Out
I
of the
think
bag.
it's done in portrait, which
Oh.
I'll have to try and show in a different way. But bear with me, I'll try my hardest for you.
I only say
think
because
it's that one.
that will answer the question that Lee, or the point Lee's making about it being different light.
Mm.
There it is. Up here. I could have put it up here. So oh no, it's not. Hang on a minute. Let's have a quick look. Bear with, and I'll upload it now. I actually color coded it out to upload it as well. In fact, I did upload it, but then I didn't have a mic, so I had to restart it, didn't I? There's the other one. Right, let's have a look while that's loading up then. Let's go down. Let's go down. 1 1 1 2 1 1 1 1 1 1 2 I prefer. So that's 2 for number 2. 1 1 1 2 for Colin. 1 2. Majority by a massive margin is number 1 according to.
Well, Alan will be really pleased then, because everyone's saying those Japanese breeders and dealers know fuck all because they picked this one.
Right. So whether there's any bias in there or not, I'm unsure. But ultimately,
Well,
you know, why did the fish on screen beat yours? So those people that wasn't listening or have just joined, this is Steve's fish, and this is the mum from Del Monte's fish.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I don't know why they picked it, but when this fish arrived, and I was there, so I saw them all in the flesh. Mine was already there. I was watching other fish arrive, and you know they're coming, right? Because you've got all the pictures on the vats, and it's like, oh, there's some more coming in my category. And this arrived. Of course, I saw he was putting it in the vat, so I knew it was from Ryuki. And you'll remember that the breeder said about mine when I asked about entering the show that it weren't blue enough. This one is much bluer than my particular fish, much darker. And you might not be able to tell so well on the video, but it's got a much better body because it's been at Ryuki's and he's carried on feeding it and conditioning it. And
I think you can see that, Steve. The body has
Yeah.
got more mass to it.
Whereas mine's been sat in cold water for a few months. And then you were talking about the Benny. I just think the Benny line on this, the top of that Benny line is very crisp, right? Very straight. Whereas mine's a little bit flaky at the time. So it's good fish. Maybe the Benny in the tail.
Let's face it, you wouldn't kick any of them out your pond if those offered to you.
But funny enough, you know, the guys who were seeing them both arrive, this arrived, I went, oh, bloody hell, I think I might lose. And they were looking at mine going, I don't know, yours has got the better skin and it's got the Caddo Gin, and this has got the body and it was like, depends whether they go for body or skin or, you know.
Yeah, but then with a Caddo Gin, you've then got another element that you need to score well on. If you was doing it technically from a judge's eye in the UK, I don't know how the Japanese would look at that. Whether they even take that into account, to be fair, Steve. Yeah. But, you know, I mean,
but anyway,
you can see there that the body is a lot stronger on the other, well, not a lot stronger, but stronger on the other fish.
But as I've said to Dave a few times, I'm not sure if I've got the bottle to take her out the pond and put her in a show vat yet. So
no, keep her looking good, mate. Or,
I don't know.
actually, let's be selfish. Yeah, you need to get it in a show vat. Show us it all. And this is the video, I believe. Is this the one?
Oh, right,
Or
me
wrong?
carrying fish. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. There, isn't it? Is that
No,
the one?
that's different fish.
Ah.
Different.
Oh, there's
fish.
an unbagging one, isn't there? I'll see if I can locate it as we go through.
Yeah.
But
That's
nice waders, by the way, mate. Nice.
Yeah. Thanks. They're really flattering. The reason we're doing that is having stood on the back of a truck and loading them all into a vat, the bloody oxygen gave up, so I had to carry them on another truck. The first two when he wasn't filming were perfect, and that one decided he didn't want it to have a go. So,
no, I mean, to be fair, Lee, it's not the best truck, that, mate, is it?
Nah, mate, it's the wrong colour for a start.
It needs to be black with a Tafaguchi, and it certainly ain't radio controlled, mate, is it?
No, it's not, mate. No.
You know what I mean? Let's get another fish up, mate, because you've got a huge collection, and we've got a little while still left to talk about stuff. So let's bring this one up. Let me just change that background so we're not. That's a crap background. Let's put that one on. There we go. Right. So I'm assuming this is from 2018, judging by the Polaroid that you've got on there.
2018, went out for a long weekend, believe it or not, to the Autopan show. Only because I managed to get a load of tickets or a couple of tickets on Avios points. So it was as cheap as chips, and took someone with me with a companion voucher, another hobbyist. We arrived the day before the show. Darren had another customer with him. They were going to a breeder cum dealer called Gonjiro. And whilst the other guy was bowling lots of fish, this caught my eye. It was, the picture does it no justice whatsoever. The sumi on it was something else. You can't really tell in this crappy little picture. But it went in a bowl, and you can't quite tell, but it had a nasty nick out of one of the pecks, obviously the one you can't see properly. And that was the only thing putting me off. And there was a conversation about pulling it out as Azakari, and that would probably grow back. Unfortunately, it didn't. But this developed into one hell of a fish if you could live with the nick in the pet.
Right, I'm just going to bring us back to this Saggy because I wasn't watching the comments, and I think it's only fair.
Something good.
It's only fair that we go back, and we'll come back to this, Steve. So hold your thoughts. But
Bernie saw it in the flesh, so
yeah. Well,
right, we're going to move them over there. Right, so comments because I can't see the comments when I'm moving the videos, just so people are aware. So Bernie. Alan states the Matsubamon is more complete down the lateral line and also has a better body. So not this fish. I'm going to go back to the other screen.
Yeah,
this one. Okay, so the Matsubamon, which is the dark part in the scale. All right. On top of that, Bernie. Let me just go back to this one. He chooses VAT1. So people that don't know who Bernie Rollins is, he is a very invested koi judge. What's not knowing about koi ain't worth knowing with Bernie. And if you can ever get a conversation with him, super interesting guy. So he has answered my question. The white line is Taki Asagi. So that, we all learn something new, me included. So thank you for that, Bernie. All right, so if you have a look down there, Matsubamon, not quite as strong in VAT1 as what it is in this one. However, Bernie reckons, and who are we to argue, that VAT1 should have won it. And personally, I mean, we're only looking on the videos. That fish is fucking superb.
Yeah.
Excuse me, language. But can't help yourself. Let's go back to what we were saying. Let's have this one in now. That was the picture. I am assuming, right, because I got a huge amount of pictures and I was shuffling them about. This is the development what we're looking at here, Steve.
Yeah.
So is it right to left or left to right?
It is left to right.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So the right hand picture is a little bit blurry. So it's not the best picture.
But when I look at the sumi development off of just off of the shoulder, it looks like it's a little bit further back
Yeah,
but the picture on the left looks stronger Sumi. So
Yeah.
is it
I
the
can't-
fact that it's appeared and disappeared and
Yeah, I
tightening
can't
up,
recall.
or
Can't recall. I've lost count of a number of people who told me this was a shower.
Yeah.
right? Okay, and this is what we ended up with, right?
Well, I think that's a similar picture to one before. So have you got the video?
I can't put it on, mate, because it's too zoomed in.
All right. Yeah, the video was the one that where it finally finished up. But this finally finished up. So this fish went out. You can see that that peck with the damage. So this is when it came back, still damaged. Rowan and I know what to do. He actually missed the shipment and ended up going out for another year. And when it came back, she was a monster, and the breeder asked to hang on to it and breed from it. As it happened, when they bred from it, I think they put about 300,000 fry out, and by the time they're cold again, there were 2 left, which they sent back as a gift, saying thanks very much, but it didn't work out. So we shipped her home. We shipped her home along with the two koi, and yeah, that was that.
So never healed up that peck.
Never healed up, but obviously
that's a crying shame.
Obviously, yeah, the redness went away, but the peck always had that sort of little, limp bend. Yeah. So, yeah.
I'm just saying, is this the fish?
Yeah, that's the fish. So that's after she came out the second time. So as you can see, it's all healed.
What farm was it from, Steve?
It's from Gonjiro.
Gonjiro. Okay.
Yeah.
Exotic.
Yeah. So Gonjiro's based down at Chiba, but does all of his own growing up in. He's a bit of a mix. So he does his own breeding, and obviously they all go into the mud ponds up in Niigata. Goes backwards and forwards. He's also where you can pick up. He'll buy fish from Iso, he'll buy fish from Sakai, and so on.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when we look back on the picture, right? I mean, the picture quality there just really shows how good. Well, all three, ignore the Finnish. When you look at the Benny, the Sumi, and the Shiroji, the red, white, and black, mate, that's outstanding, isn't it? That is finished.
Yeah. These are all images the breeder sent, so I've got no control over them.
That is. I mean, the video's a little bit washed out because that's the sort of thing, but it gives you an idea here on how big that body is, and the head is huge as well.
Yeah.
What a fantastic! I'm not always a sort of fan of heavy Sumi, and that. However, you can appreciate the fish for what it is. That body is fucking superb.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I managed to get the video on. Anyway, let's take that off. Let's bring this one up.
All right.
So there's a bit of a story behind this fish, Mr. Rollins.
There is.
So what you're looking at here, Sakai Fish Farm, Sankey, back in 2022, measured in at 83. Before you go into it, have you still got this fish?
No.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
It's all right.
One GC at the Crouch Valley Koi Show.
Some people know I had a mega wipeout a couple of years back. So yeah.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. That's a story for another day.
Well, it sounds like you want to come back on. That's cool. I'll hold you to that. I gripped it at the right opportunity.
So
looks a bit skinny, this fish, for a
exactly.
GC, mate.
People look at that and go, "Oh, well, that's a bit skinny for a GC. It hasn't got much of a body." So that year at the Crouch, Steve was doing nighttime security. We always have someone stay overnight, obviously, to keep an eye on the electric and so on. And I was tucked up and trying to get a little bit of kit. And suddenly I had a load of commotion in a vat that was right near where I was tucked up trying to get some kit. And it was my vat. And when I went and looked under the covers, the buggers had started to spawn. And this was about 3-4 o'clock in the morning. I was like, bloody hell, that's no good. And sure enough, they carried on. And the judges turned up. They were still spawning. Actually, I think Bernie might have been judging from memory. And they were spawning until early into the afternoon. I think it was about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon before they finished. And so Dr. Dave was on top of water quality, throwing in the ammonia binder to stop them getting burnt. and I was on skimming neck duty, taking all the foam off the top. And despite the fact they were spawning, as you can see from the picture, with Dave throwing in the ammonia blocker, the skin kind of held up. She obviously, at the time the judges were there, hadn't lost all the eggs and wasn't quite as skinny as you see her. And she came away with GC. And I think that's probably the only fish that's ever won GC once spawning.
Well. To be fair, we were saying just before we went live, it's like last year at the National was a fucking bloodbath for spawning, weren't it? I mean, I don't. I don't pity the guys that had to jet wash the vats down, Steve.
like Team Crouch. People don't know. Lee bangs on about building the show. What about the poor sods who are?
Yeah, no, I feel for you, mate. I feel for you. Trust me.
Like you know, for people who don't know them, that spawn sticks like glue.
Yeah,
to the side of the vats, man. And if you don't clean it off, my God, does it reek?
Yeah.
But how much body weight a fish actually loses of this sort of, I mean, because it's no slouch in size, Steve, is it?
No.
You're losing a huge amount of weight. You know, and it does change the dynamics, like the body line of the fish massively. So if you come up on a Sunday and the fish are spawned, don't judge them. Like Colin says, right? It's 2026, so don't label koi for being skinny. All right, it's quite simple. But overall, stunning little story, right? One that I'm quite keen to hear about is this one.
Yeah.
I don't know what the year. Are these pictures from World of Nishikigoi?
Yeah.
Right. So credit to World of Nishikigoi, Liam Bess. Obviously, need to make sure that he's covered in that because Liam does take some super pictures, as you can see. So, and he's only got better because what year was this one, Steve?
That would have been 20. What year was COVID? Was 9. It was show 9. It might have been 21.
Okay, and yeah, since Steve, Liam, just a little bit of positive feedback, mate. Your pictures have got better. All right, so you know they was good then, but they're better now. Best non-go Sankey and jumbo champion. Right. So talk us about when did you get this koi, mate? How long did you own it? And where does the story end? Because it doesn't end on this picture, does it?
No. So Izamir came through Darren at Select, bought at Sansai. Believe it or not, it was in the shop for 3 or 4 months. No one buying it. Couldn't understand why.
So just so people are aware, Sansai is 3 years old because we have got newbies that watch, Steve.
Yeah, sorry. Was a very, very light Yamabuki when I bought it. You know, wasn't the bright metallic-y golden colour.
Which is one of my criteria actually if I was selecting, Steve.
The Fukurin on it when I bought it was unbelievable for a Sansai. That's what really grabbed me. And she went in the pond and she just got better and better and better. You know, this isn't even the best picture of her, our best colour. As you say, Liam has improved. But you may notice. But you might know one thing you might notice is regardless of whatever the fish was at any moment in time, the pecks and everything else are exactly the same colour. And I think that one of the best qualities, and I'm friends with Keith Bertie, another BKKS judge, and he used to come around and just lick his lips and just go, unbelievable how those pecks are perfectly coloured to everything else and so on. So I can't remember how old she was, when she went in. But that was a fish that just grew and grew and grew in the pond and really didn't. I used to put a yammy in a vat. It's a bit of a show trick, right? Put a yammy in a vat and you go Sankey, you'll suddenly look a lot better.
Absolutely, mate. I say that all the time, mate. Even in your pond, mate, you put yellow in and it breaks everything.
Bit of yellow,
yeah. So, so she went in the show a couple of times for that. Grew in the pond, hit 93, and I just thought, do you know what? Let's have a go. And I was thinking she might compete for jumbo, and she actually took best non-go Sankey. So, she went back
jumbo.
She went back the following year. She was 96, I think, the following year. Took jumbo, but we arrived at the All England and the water was freezing. It was like 14 degrees. And that September, everyone was struggling to get their ponds below 20. And I rocked up with all the fish in a zippy, and despite trying to acclimatise them, they went from 20 into about 14.
So they went into a sulk.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing. They were sulking. The guys. I mean, Dave kept checking the water, saying it's fine. Did a couple of water changes because it was more cold on top of cold. So they went into a real sulk. And when they came home, this girl, bless her, went to the bottom of the pond and just didn't want to eat, didn't want to come up. Put her into quarantine for the winter, keeping her warm. And, she would mooch around. She might look at a bit of food. But yeah, she rolled over, unfortunately. And
so that's the importance of temperature. Temperature shock is a real thing.
Yeah, and I said to Dave, I'd share that story for those two reasons. So one is like, beware dropping fish in temperature, especially big fish, and the other one is that is the downside of showing, my friends.
But it is, isn't it? I mean, but there's more good than bad when we're looking at showing. Colin Holland asks, did you, Steve? You never lost these koi, did you? When you had your wipeout, were they part of it, or?
Yes,
mate. What an absolute heartbreak, mate.
I lost 90% of my koi to a issue that takes a bit of explaining.
Yeah, we won't go into that. That's a private matter. No. Let's keep it positive because that's what it's all about. Let's bring this one up. Right, before don't give us the age of this koi. Yeah, okay, mate. Yeah, I mean, you can keep it off because I've got a face for radio, mate. It's not a problem.
My type of Sankey, that.
But before Steve gives the age on this, those of us that are still in watching, what age and size would you say this is looking at the picture? Breeder? Steve?
Sakai.
So you go top end when you're buying your fish. Is that all the time, Steve? Or
it's Sakai, but it wasn't bought it wasn't bought from Sakai, and I didn't know it was Sakai when I bowled it and bought it.
Was it an Odecan purchase or?
No, it was at Gonjiro, the guy I mentioned before, who buys a few in as well as breeding his own.
Okay, why this koi, mate? Again, don't give the age and size away just yet.
This was on my very first trip to Japan.
Yeah.
And we rocked up. I was with Darren from Select. And at Gonjiro, there is a pond which is probably no more than about 4 or 5 feet wide. It must be 20 odd feet long. And it clearly had PP. And it had gone from PP to that dirty, mucky brown colour. But there were loads of fish of various sizes and qualities swimming around in it. And we were able to net in that pond. And this fish just kept popping up. And you can imagine a fish with that skin quality keep breaking the surface in that dirty brown water. And it was like, there's a fish in here I've got to get. There's a fish in here I've got to get. And eventually Darren managed to catch it. And obviously went in a bowl. And it was like, lovely, lovely, lovely. And the conversation, before we even knew it was from Sakai, the conversation was, well, we've just been at the All Japan show. And it's like, it would have been interesting to see how that would have done at the show because it's as good as some of the stuff we saw. And that conversation evolved into, well, let's think about sending it to the All Japan Young Koi show, which is what it did. It went there and took a second and then went to the international afterwards and took a bronze. So, but yeah.
I mean, but nevertheless, I mean, critique that fish, Steve, from your eye. Why it was something that grasped your attention? Because I try to explain. I mean, there's been a few times when you see a koi and there's that connection, and it's something that you want. My first time that I speak about a lot was Kajaku at the National, where I had to keep going back to look at it because it was just mesmerising. The second time was in Japan. My first time when we was up in Yamaguchi, and he put this tozai into a bowl. I mean, Ryan ended up buying it, but my God, it was expensive. But I just could not keep my eyes off it. If I had the money, I would have bought it for my personal collection.
I can
but
remember
it
it
was well out
myself
of my
once.
price range. But absolute stunning fish, mate. Why the connection to that?
Well, the first thing was skin, right? It was just so bloody white and crisp. And it was like, that was what attracted, and it took a long while to catch this bugger in that water, I'll tell you. But soon it went in clean water in a bowl. It was like, wow. And like, you just look at it and it's just like, it's got everything as far as I was concerned, Maritan, Sankey,
Yeah.
Yeah. If
Explain Maritan for people that don't know.
Sorry. The head marking. So doesn't necessarily have to be a round spot to be a Maritan. So it's got the Benny head marking,
Yeah.
If you was thinking about, the old classic of you need a Kahaku pattern and a Beko pattern, and look at it, it's got all of that, right? If you really want to go there, to me, it's really, really balanced. The one thing it needed was that bit of sumi coming out just behind the head. It didn't come up strong enough in terms of, if that had come up, apparently it would have been a real contender at the international. The breeder came back and went, that's what it fell down on. It's already got the little Jimmy coming in the pecs, the little black stripes.
Yeah, the Teshame. Yeah,
Teshame, sorry. And white stock before it's got everything. I couldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe how reasonably priced this koi was. It was crazy. And then it's like, oh no, that's the fish I bought from Sakai.
I mean, Sankey.
I was amazed. We rolled it over in it, and it wasn't squirting all over the place. It had to be mal, but it wasn't. It's one of those. You just land on it. You just get lucky, right? They say they never miss one. Well, they probably did miss one.
Oh, they do miss them, mate. They
Fabulous
really do. I mean, I think all of us, Lee, you're a Sankey man. Dave, you're a Sankey man. I'm a Sankey man.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly a Showa fan. If I was to look at that as a Sankey from my own personal pleasure, it ticks the boxes, and not just because you've got it on here. It's got the right amount of sumi and the right amount of shiroji and Benny mixture. For me, that is just absolutely sublime.
Yeah.
And they are a work of art, and everyone has different tastes, don't they? I mean, Lee, what do you think, mate?
It's amazing. I mean, how clean the head is as well. I mean, what size is that? 25, 30 cm? Is it a Chibi Nisai?
Don't believe so. He said jumbo Tosai, but who knows?
Yeah.
Right? But,
head's really clean, isn't it? That's the first thing I look at it for the size.
It was
super clean.
From memory, it was just over 30.
Right, so there you go. Look, Rusty Twinkle states 2 years old and 47. Right. Rob states Tozai at 39 cm. What did you say it was? 37?
No, I think it's about 31, 32.
31. So, I mean, thanks for taking part, you two. The rest of you go to the naughty step. But, it just proves that it's very difficult to age and size a fish when there's no comparisons to look at. But when you look at that, I mean, it's obvious to me and all of us, I would say, that are a little bit more trained in the eye, it's a smaller fish just because of the body. But what an absolute fabulous example. I think I need to do a bit of shuffling about, so I'm just going to bring this one up. Just give us a little bit of an overview on this, because there's a Kahaku that I want to bring in that was the adult champion in a minute, but I've just got to do a little bit of deleting and loading, Steve. All right.
Yeah. So there is a subsequent picture of this fish, or a video. I can't remember. Yeah, you've got a video of this fish, but it might be the wrong way around for you.
It's not that one.
No. So this was a shower from Nagashima, but wasn't actually bred by Nagashima. It was Dainichi Toyota. He'd bought a batch of fish of a Dainichi and was growing it on.
Well, to be fair, when you look at the sumi, it's got Dainichi written all over it.
Yeah. If you manage to find the video in a minute, you'll be amazed.
Yeah, I'm looking for it now, mate.
Yeah. Jumbo Tosai, can't remember the size off the top of my head. Stayed as Azukari, came out of Azukari. If Crafty does find the video, you'll be amazed how the sumi came up. but it had barely grown a centimetre. And it was like, hang on a minute, it's shrunk. What's going on? And Nagashima was very sorry. There was a spawning in the pond, and all the food got ate by the fry. It wasn't a very good year. The fish didn't grow. But the sumi on it was unbelievable. So the deal was, put it back. It went back. It came out the following year. Nagashima saying, oh, very sorry, there was a spawning in the pond. Luckily, it had grown. And when Darren was out there and rolled it over, the reason there was a spawning in the pond is it had grown a pair of nuts. And so my fish was the fish that had ruined Nagashima's mud pond 2 years on the bounce. So it's like, So there was a very awkward moment in terms of I'd paid for a female Nagashima-san, and as good as it is, it's male. And like, what are we going to do? And there was a very awkward moment. And I just went, look, there has to be some compromise here. Like, I can't go seeking compensation, because you've lost out, I've lost out. There has to be something fair. So through the dealer, through the agent, I said, I know he wants to do something. How about when Darren comes out next year and, in the spring, Darren picks a Tosai, I'll pay for Asakari, there you go, look at the sumi. And like, we're all done, we're all quids in. And Nagashima was like, yep, very grateful, very honourable, blah, 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 Darren goes back the following year, bad news, Nagashima saying, your fish died.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So,
mate, you don't have a lot of luck, do you?
Oh, no. Well, here's the luck. Good relationship with my dealer. My dealer bought me a replacement, which is actually a year younger than this, and he's a female. So actually, I did very well out of it in the end. So can't complain.
So, I mean, what the compliment does. So those people that have got a good mind's eye will see from that the picture that come up to what we're seeing in the bowl now. What sort of size was it in the bowl there, Steve? That's got to be a good 80 cm.
No.
60, 65?
No, not even. She was
right,
only...
okay, it's not a massive bowl, is it?
No.
Yeah.
No, that's when it come back. So
you're looking 45, 50?
40, maybe. Yeah, hadn't grown at all.
Well,
but
I mean,
just put on body, put on sumi, look fantastic, went out again. I mean, the body on this fish for a male is unbelievable when you see it in the pond. You might see, if it's conditioned right, you might see it in a show vat later this year. So,
I mean, I'll stop it at that point. Unfortunately, it's not face down, but
yeah,
if you remember in your mind's eye where that sumi was, right, all of this area here was underlying. Right, it is developed. I can't bring them both up together because they're on a media type. So.
No, I mean, it's developed what was underlying and more on top, right? It's crazy.
Absolutely. Let me see if I remove that and then put that back on.
Yeah, I mean,
right, look, first and foremost, look, side flank, head pattern, just how much sumi has come when I then remove that and put that back on. I mean, that is just an insane transformation. Benny has deepened, sumi, Benny red, sumi black, absolutely. Mate, the white skin looks absolutely fabulous as well.
Yeah, it's a nice colour. Really nice.
Where did you say this one's from, Steve? I weren't listening because I was busy.
So the breeder is Nagashima, but it's from Dainichi Toyota. In fact,
that's right, Dainichi Toyota.
In fact, Nagashima-san has actually bought the parent off of Dainichi Toyota. Now he's got the female parent.
Well,
and that is one
there's going to be a lot of jealous people looking at the collection.
Steve, what size is it now at yours?
65, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think it won't push much more than that, or do you think it?
I don't know. It's like, I mean, the body on it.
Yeah, it's a great cracking body. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it's not been out and measured for ages, but I'd guess 65. But anyone who comes around goes, bloody hell.
Yeah. So it's not often you get the show with everything that well proportioned, and
and the one Darren replaced it with is very, very similar. And at the moment, has got lots of that Kage Sumi. So whether it goes the same way or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a year behind. So
Well, I'm just going to bring the next one up.
my very first purchase in Japan.
Really, and what a good fish, mate. I think there's a lot of us
right ahead on
sat
it,
in
innit?
awe, mate, to be perfectly honest.
And Mao.
Again, Mail, that again. Before you give anything, Steve, Dave, Lee, do you want to come in, have a little critique on it or whatever?
It's got a big mouth on it. It's got a head like a jackhammer, isn't it?
Yeah. Look how far them eyes are apart.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fabulous. Yeah, I think that. I mean, that is actually my type of kahaku, because I do like a bit of a quirky head pattern. If I'm honest, I think it just adds a character to it. So, but yeah, Kiwa Sasha is good, isn't it?
It's good. Yeah, very nice.
Pecs are nice, fabulous.
Yeah, very nice koi.
Very,
it's all there, isn't it?
Very first farm I visited in Japan was Maruyama. We went into the fish house and were told all these ponds in the left are male, these are all female, and the big pond were bigger size. Gave the prices, looked in the male pond, saw this swim around, and it was like, that fish is a tank. Are you sure it's male? And the price, obviously, it was quite expensive for a male. And we said to Futoshi, would you be kind enough to pick out what you think is the best fish in the pond? And he actually picked this out, and it was like, hang on a minute, I'm doing all right here. So it went in a bowl, a very big bowl, one of the big 1.5 meter jobs. And it was a case of, if I didn't buy it, then the guys on the trip next to me, a friend of mine, Andy Owen, would have bought it straight away. And the agent, who was at that time was Toshi from what's the name of it? Can't think of the name. He was the handler for the GC when the Russian one, I think it was. Anyway, he said, I heard him say to Darren, if your customer doesn't want it, then I'll be buying it. So I bought that fish, and immediately the rest of the fish in the pond were half the price that he quoted when we went in.
Wow.
So it was like, all the fish in the pond this price. I bought that one. He went, all the fish in the pond now half that price. So just shows you it's weird. So
just so you know, I have highlighted some comments out, guys. I'm not ignoring you. We'll come back to them as a collective. So if you've got questions, put them in now, and then we'll pose them to Steve in a while. While you've done that, Steve, I've got to take that one down first. Add that on. So
yeah, that's the fish. Yeah, it was a tricky video it went on, so that's all I could get you. But there you go. Look at that for a male.
Fabulous.
Well, a fabulous koi throughout, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just like, yeah.
I mean, I was looking on.
I know you're really keen to buy when you go there and you buy your first fish you really love, but I mean, that was just fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look down there, the Kiwa. I mean, this is what I really love on fish. When you get the Kiwa coming down the sides like that, I don't know, it just Kiwa down there. Oh mate, and the sash is pretty.
I mean, look at the sash.
Right?
Yeah, look at the sash where you just had your mouse. Wow.
See if we can get. I mean, it's only a 6-second video, so I'm trying my best. I mean, look at that.
Steve, what have you found the biggest difference now in Japan from when you first went to now?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I think everyone talks about the craziness now of the harvest season, right, and all the events and everything else.
Yeah, it's got a bit crackers, isn't it?
First trip we went, the real excitement was chasing around everywhere, trying to be the first one there when the fish came in. I remember, like someone like Miyatora, we were rocking up 4 times a day because they were harvesting all the time. The sun was out harvesting and the old man was there selling fish, and it was like, oh, there'll be another lot in, so you go and grab some lunch and you try and be back. It was always great when you arrived just before Ryuki, right?
Yeah.
Lee knows that.
But you're ducking and diving everywhere. That was great fun. And then all of the other craziness started. I've had a period whereby because of the way Darren goes and buys his fish, he goes out in October, and then he was going back sort of late November. So, you know, go sell some, go back. There's always some more fish come out late and so on.
Yeah.
And I used to love going on that November, December trip because all that rushing around was done, you know. And I was then fortunate enough to be able to like help net fish, catch fish, pick my own fish. It's like it was just a lot calmer at that time. A lot harder, obviously, to find them because a lot of stuff had gone. But I really used to enjoy that trip. A lot of great time. I got on really well with Darren's agent and his family, so that was really, really good. So that's nice. My last trip was a bit different because Darren went out for 4-5 weeks, did his shopping, then I went out. Some of the guys from Kent came and joined us, and then some guys from up north, Paul Cunningham, who had on here, came and joined us. So there was a lot of us going around. So that was a different dynamic. I managed to film with Boots in the first 3 or 4 days I was there without the other guys. So I still ended up buying more fish afterwards, as you do. Budget more beside, but there you go. But yeah, lucky enough, like, you know, Darren doesn't want to get involved in all the events, so while everyone's at an event, we'll go somewhere else and, you know, try and get lucky elsewhere. So, yeah, but that event stuff is bloody crazy.
Yeah.
I feel for the dealers and everything else. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, like get draw number 1 and your next fish is pick number 21.
Yeah.
Your next fish is number 31, or it goes backwards.
Backwards. Yeah. I mean,
I dread to think how you can try and fill a box of good koi, because unless you've got a pick,
do you know what I feel sorry for is
I've got number 1 pick and then I've got a shit pick to fill a box.
You get these events and you get these people like you know, Ryan, Rob DeVos, all the people that have been going there for years and years and years, and then you get new people coming up from South Africa, really new people. Well, I suppose I would be one of them actually if I go there next time, and I've got the same chance to pull out a better chopstick than anyone else. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't seem like there's much loyalty there now. Do you know what I mean? It's just a free for all, really. Yeah.
The other thing interesting on some of the farms is how now the sons are taking over compared to the fathers. So you've seen how the father works and theirs, and then the son. And in some cases, you think, not quite sure they get it. In others, they're doing really, really well. Right?
Yeah. Like Cano and stuff like that. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. If you can be bothered to go out to Nagoshi, that lad there's breeding for good fish, you know. Yeah.
Right. Change our gears over to some of the questions.
Yeah.
Paul Cunningham, obviously you know Steve, really, really good hobbyist up in near Newcastle. Would you increase emphasis on skin quality and pattern than out and out body mass?
My number one when trying to prep, I mean, you need body, right, on a fish. I always think the problem with body, and I hear it on some of the YouTube stuff as well, if I'm going back to my gripe with YouTube, is it's all about body, and people think body has to be great big fish. That isn't the judging criteria for body, you know. And I don't want to talk with Alan and Bernie on, but as far as I understand it, body is body shape, body deformity, fins, everything else, right? That's body. And everyone thinks, well, it's got to have a big body. So has the fish got a body? Has it got any deformities and whatever? Well, if a fish has got deformities and body issues, I won't be putting in the show anyway, right?
Absolutely.
But my number one for when I am thinking about showing on what fish I'm taking for a show, skin.
Absolutely.
Can I make
skin?
Can I make it pop in the vat? Simple as that. Because I want to catch the judge's eye, you know. And like,
it does catch your eye, doesn't it?
If we go back to those asagis in the bowl, the one that catches your eye is the one with a really shiny skin.
Yeah.
That's just my view. I don't know.
No, but you know something, you're so right, Steve. I mean, when you see someone that's conditioned their koi ready for the show, irrespective of how they've conditioned it, if they get skin quality on point, right, and we've seen this on the GC last year, actually, the skin is what let second place down, otherwise it probably would have pipped it, you know, and it was a skin quality. When you're seeing it on the Sunday, it weren't quite as bad as it was on the Saturday. If people understand skin and how to condition their fish ready for a show, skin is in my opinion, the piece that tends to nip it for the bigger prizes. It's like, because it carries so much more value. Skin isn't just the shininess; it's how the rest of the fish looks with regards to the depth of the shiroji, the beni, the sumi. It makes the fish completely different, rather than a little bit of a dull sort of creature. Although be it magnificent, completely different levels when you get skin right.
Well, what I always think, when you get that skin that is that extra level, you tend not to even look at the pattern. I don't think, personally. I mean, the first thing that gets you is, wow, the skin, and that's your immediate eye attention onto that skin, and then you may start going, yeah, it's not a bad pattern either, but it is that skin that I think so, personally.
Yeah,
I'd agree, and I
doesn't always work.
No, yeah.
I think this is actually an excellent question sent in by Colin. What's your pond setup?
Oh,
Are you old school, Steve, or are you a gadget man?
No, a bit of both. My pond was built in 1990.
You're showing your age now, mate. Did you have a full head of hair then as well?
I did, yeah. I had a full head of hair till a couple of years back when I was 50. Good job I can bloody laugh about it. So my pond, when it was first built, I was introduced to a guy by a friend of a friend who kept koi, built his own pond. He was a builder. He had a sort of 2,500 gallon pond, which was run on a ITT half horse pump and a sand filter. And I didn't know any better. And he came and built me a 5,000 gallon pond, and it was run on a 1 horse ITT and a sand filter. And it was pump fed. And the drain in the bottom was 1.5 inch swimming pool Tommy drain. And the skimmer was a Certican standard swimming pool. And it ran. And it did okay for a while. And then I learned a bit more about filtration and biological filtration. And I came up with this idea that I needed some biological, but I didn't have much space at the time. And I went and bought a 6 foot high, 24 inch reconditioned sand filter. And I filled it full of this floating plastic media, which was like a flower pot with a load of grids in it and so on. Right? And I put it behind the sand filter. And people went, no, you've got it the wrong way around. The sand filter was a polisher. And I go, no, I use the sand filter. It takes all the shit out, and then my filter stays lovely and clean. Today, we would call that a drum.
But no moving parts, may I add.
I know, there weren't so crazy as it sounded. However, it did become high maintenance because it kept clogging and so on. I went from sand to a very fine Canterbury spar that they use in horticulture as a grip, and that was good. I got a better flow. And, I used to just backflush the sand filter, but every now and again, it would kind of go solid and channel, and so you needed to take the lid off and churn it. But I ran like that for ages and ages. And then the more I got into the hobby and learned about filtration, by the time I added to that, I ended up with 3 4-bays full of alpha grog and all sorts. I was completely over-filtered. I'll tell you something. In my days of alpha grog, despite the pain in the arse of cleaning all those filters and everything else,
it's one of the best you've had.
I never saw a shimmy on a kahaku in my life until I got rid of all of that. So,
put it back in.
Too much hard work. So these days, I have a pump fed drum. Oh, by the way, I'm told you can't grow big fish in a pump fed system. No one told that Yamabuki, by the way, or the chag that went to over a meter. So pump fed drum, which then runs into 2 fluidized chambers full of K1 and all sorts. I couldn't even tell you how many liters I've got in there. It just runs and runs and runs. And then I have a skimmer line, which used to go through a bead filter that was full of K1. I ended up with a massive bacterial problem because it wasn't clear in the bottom. That was part of the disaster from a couple of years ago. Only part of the disaster. Yeah. That's now gone, and I've got a pair of Tempests that run on the skimmer line to make sure that the water is filtered before it goes through the heat pump. Through a heat pump, through an electro as a backup in case the heat pump goes wrong, which has done in the past. The electro runs a couple of degrees below and packs up and back to the pond. So I've got that double
So is that on a 5,000 gallon pond still, Steve?
The pond and filters is 5,500 gallons, 25,000 litres.
Have you only got one pond?
I have a 800 gallon quarantine, which is a sleeper pond, which currently has a box liner in, because I had a problem with a return and a fiberglass. So that is that. And I have a 300 gallon tank. You know, the ones that you slot them all together, the wooden tanks?
Yeah.
With a box liner in it that runs on a bead filter only. And I use that primarily for keeping naive fish, which we probably need to explain to some people on here. But I keep a batch of cuttlebrook fish.
Yeah.
I used to. I had to use the pond for something else, but that was built purely to keep cuttlebrook fish, which would never have come into contact with KHV because of the way that pond works. And therefore, when I bring in fish from Japan, I can throw those naive fish into it, ramp the temperature up to 23, and see if anything happens, which is exactly what they do at farms like Sakai. And also, more and more dealers I notice in this country are doing the same thing.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I believe Cuttlebrook is probably the only place I can be absolutely assured I'm getting naive fish. Ricky might be another option.
Ricky definitely is.
Yeah. But, the way Mark quarantines anything that comes in, hand strips, and so on, I'm comfortable that his are the same. And I'd say, because Ricky hand strips and everything else, he's probably pretty safe as naive fish as well. Yeah. Whereas
my final question to you, Steve, because we've run over a little bit than what we normally do, but you've been such a good inspiration to quite a lot of people out there and a fountain of knowledge. After all these years, what keeps your passion in the hobby?
Cool.
It's an addiction, right? I mean,
that's what we call dealers, right?
Well, I after when you lose virtually your whole collection and you've spent several weeks of antibiotics, watching the things die, having to put them down. I mean, I think it was something like 41 fish.
Wow, soul destroying.
And I was bagging up fish. Well, I was netting fish out of the pond, which basically, if you looked at them, we talk about skin, they could have been in a show vat. They were good because it was all going on internally and all sorts. So we won't go into the reasons why, but that happened. I was out of work at the time. I'd been made redundant, and I'm at home every morning going, I can't go into the garden yet because I'm going to find dead fish. It's soul destroying, Dave, as you say.
Yeah, it is.
And I was on the verge of giving up. But you save some, and you put a lot of effort into saving them. At that time, I had two fish I'd already purchased round at Darren's, at Select, and I had fish in Azakari. And it was like, well, what do I do? Part of me was forget it, maybe put a few chags or plain colours in and just do that. But because I had saved I'd saved a couple of good ones and some mediocre ones because they were damaged. But because I had fish coming, I carried on. And it is an addiction. It is an addiction. I just love them. I just love them. This hobby gives you so much grief.
Yeah.
Don't we know it?
So much grief. You guys, you guys were talking, getting ready for a show. We have that grief getting ready for a show.
Yeah.
There isn't a week go by where there isn't a bloody problem of some description. Something's gone wrong with a fish or a pump, or there's always something.
I mean, we're led to believe keeping coy
when
is
it's going well. When it's going well, it's just and I really enjoy. A few good friends in the crouch. Dave, we'll see you tomorrow with Keith and Andy.
Yeah,
we'll have a day out.
Great lads.
We'll chew the fat with you. We'll take the piss out of each other. We'll all sorts. It's a great day out. It's great camaraderie. We didn't really talk much about the crouch. Running the crouch is a bugger of a job. All right, the committee have to work really hard because everyone sees it as a great club. It's got about 60 members, but you have the heart of the club the committee who work their nuts off. You have a group of people who really support you and work, and then you've got people who don't want, and That's fine, right? As long as they get value out of the club. But running a club is hard work. Right?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
There isn't a week goes by where something isn't happening. You know, running the show is hard work. But they're just running the club, getting speakers, keeping all the events going, everything is hard work. Yeah. Return of the growing show next week, right? So, you know, we've got to get it all set up, make sure everyone turns up, make sure all the voting slips are done, make sure we've got the prizes, make sure there's oxygen for anyone who turns up or hasn't gas. There's a, you know, you were talking about getting ready for a show. Every event, hard work. But at the end of the day, you know, for all the frustrations, it's really, really rewarding to give something back to the hobby and, you know, add some value.
This is why I think the shows are just so important, because I think it could be a lonely hobby if you didn't get to these shows. I mean, even as a dealer, you know, it's great to see you see other dealers that you don't speak to most of the year, and you see people there, the water team who come across and have a natter with you. It's the only time you get to see them once a year at that particular show, you know, and you see. I think it would be quite a lonely hobby without these shows, personally.
Yeah. Something to look forward to.
In my early days, you know, when I wasn't in a club, I showed no interest in being in a club. And in fact, Andy Owen persuaded me to join a club, and I was going, no, I don't want to know.
So it's Andy's fault.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'll tell you one last little story. Andy persuaded me to join the Crouch. I don't want anything to do with clubs. Oh, come to the Crouch. It's really, really friendly. First meeting I went to was an AGM, and on the agenda was one of the members had accused someone of bullying them. And it's like,
welcome.
So the moral of the story is, please, nobody listen to Andy Owen.
Bless him. There's a guy. There's a man with an eye for a fish, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Right. Earlier, I said I would sponsor a VAT. Anthony Hooper, I believe this is the response to that. You're the only person that said yes. Colin, I'm very disappointed in you. If it is that, mate, please put a comment in now if you're still watching. If not, I'll still sponsor it either way, Steve. But hang on, live just come in. Let me just have a quick check. No, it's not him. Right, but provisionally, Anthony Hooper, if that was to that question, that's yours. How do we get in touch with you, Steve, for doing that?
If you work that out, then if it is Anthony that wants to do it, if you just ping me his email address,
okay,
then I'll give him details of how to get in touch with Darren Heppel at the club, who's managing all the VAT allocations. And,
okay, I'll put it out there. I don't know which channel you're subscribed on because we stream to all three because it's collective effort. So get in touch with any of us, and then that information will get passed over to Steve, and he'll be in touch. So if not Steve, let me know, whoever takes it, mate. You know, or if you take it, I'll sort it out either way, mate. Even if it remains empty. So right, said I was going to drop some. Go on, Steve.
It won't be empty.
No, I doubt that very much.
We'll split a club members' fish into it or something. It won't be empty. We had to do the same last year when someone disappeared at the last minute. So.
For some reason, Colin's a turkey helmet, but he said it, not me. Right, I was going to say one thing. I'm putting it out there. I know that there's plenty of dealers that are watching this because we've had through one way or another, either through Lee, myself, or Dave, people are willing to come on, right, which is absolutely fabulous. And I think, if anything, from a professional standpoint, with us all being in the trade, I'm putting it out there that I've been looking and discussing with a couple, looking at resparking the Professional Koi Dealers Association, whether it be as it used to be or newer. I think with the new blood coming through, the fact that we're very exposed now with the amount of people that have got cameras and social media, etc. There's a lot of bad that happens and a lot of name calling, like from one person to another, not necessarily from dealer to dealer. irrespective of whether you like each other or not. I think that from a standpoint of practices and stuff that we're doing, if the Japanese can work together, why can't we? I'd like to put it out there. If anybody is interested, I'm not going to expose any names to people that said they are at the moment, but I have had people say they are interested, irrespective of whether you want to be in it or not. That's fine. Drop me over a text or an email or whatever, and then those people that are, we will get our heads together and get the ball rolling. So, you know, you don't know until you try. Dave, I know you was part of this previously, mate. When it happened, I understand that it fell to bits, and probably people don't even know that it was a thing, and that's how long ago it was. But,
I was a member for quite a few years, along with Selective Koi, Kennett Cole, water
Koi collection.
Koi collection.
Yeah. Obviously, Paula Reynolds was part of it as well. Yeah, it had a lot of good about it. It could have been improved. Yes, like everything could have been. But getting people to work together can be challenging.
Can be a challenge. But, you know, Dave, in my opinion, mate, everything we do is a challenge.
Yeah, true.
Right? And if other trades can do something like that, and the Japanese can do it, irrespective, I believe, from a standpoint from where I sit, I know I've only been in the trade for 4 years, but ultimately there's got a way that we can move things forward. And if we can put a tick on a box to say that we're part of an association with an agreement of said rules or whatever, and then look to how we govern it, etc., you know, if we can at least have a meeting with said koi dealers that want to be part of it, or if you don't want to be part of it and you still want to be part of a meeting and voice your opinion, I'm throwing the chalice down or the gauntlet down. Let's see what we can do between us. Whether people agree or they don't, or they think I'm an idiot or I'm not, I don't care, to be perfectly honest. If somebody's going to make a move, let it be me. Right, and if it don't work, then it don't work. That's how I want to see it, you know. Not that I'm putting a poo-poo on anything. Vince has just asked a question: what's happening with the UK Koi Club? At the moment, it's currently treading water, Vince. There's still a little bit of treading water that's got to happen for legalities that I've run into that, and I need a little bit of help. I can't do it all on my own. But at the minute, I've got to put it on a back burner, mate, because I've got too many other things happening. But it's not gone away. It's well developed. I've just got other things that I need to address in that before I can make it live. So it will go back to a drawing board later on. But at the minute, it's built. Just got to get a couple of more things across the line. So anything from anyone else before we depart?
I might have somebody for that, Steve.
All right. I'll let
that person doesn't get back, I'll speak to you tomorrow.
Thank you, Doug.
Okay, that's cool. Well, you've got one at least.
I'm just amazed we got through the whole evening without talking about Chinese koi.
That's next time, Steve.
Yeah, don't you worry, mate.
I'll send you the picture.
Yeah. Mate, send me fucking shit to the pictures, mate. There's only so much time we can broadcast.
You'll come back on again,
from you, my friend?
You come back on again at some point?
If you're that desperate.
No, it's been interesting, buddy.
Hey, what do you mean desperate, mate? And right, Steve, let me throw this your way, right? You know I'm a gobshite, right? You know that, right? But there's only one way of changing people's opinions or their ability to understand koi, and that is for people like you to sit in front of a screen now, you know, and say, this is how it is, this is my experience, that's what I look for, these are the challenges we face, right? You guys, the dinosaurs, or Jurassics, as Colin called you earlier, you're the guys that bring the experience. You are the people that we need on the show to show that it isn't just us lot, dealers, that enjoy koi. There's people like yourself out there that actually are probably balls deep in experience and knowledge. and we all learn from you. Dealers will learn from you, and those are people that say that's not true is lying out their ass, mate. I'll tell you that for nothing, Steve. You know, anything from you, Lee?
Well, like what you just said, obviously Steve sort of had a bit of a bee in his bonnet with some YouTubers because of wrong advice, but that's why we need people like you to come on to put your little part, thing to the party. So, I mean, it is good for people with a lot of experience to come on, and anybody else that's been in the hobby for a long time, definitely contact one of the three of us, and we'll see if we can get you on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we've got a bit of a calendar already.
Yeah,
built.
we have got a bit
We
of a
will
calendar,
get you
actually.
in.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We want people to come back. We want new people on, hobbyists, experienced hobbyists,
right. Yeah,
etc. And we are going to have a Q&A night, and I think it'd be good to have people like Steve or other experience in there to give it from their point of view as well.
Yeah,
How's that sound, Steve?
Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
you're part of the YouTube crew now, mate. I'm getting you a T-shirt, mate.
I've got my Coastal Koi Crouch Valley
Don't matter,
Koi
mate.
Show
We will get a
2026.
YouTube underneath.
Don't forget, everybody,
Remember,
get yourselves there.
free to enter, so you can come along for a couple of hours. Even if it's a couple of
Absolutely.
hours, have some fun.
Make sure you send him loads of text messages. Really, really spam him to death about anything to do with koi. He has got a website. What's your website, Steve? Crouch Valley Koi Club?
It's crouchvalleykoi.co.uk, I think.
Yeah, if you're searching Google Crouch Valley Koi Club, it'll come up anyway.
Yeah.
Loads of information on there. That's one thing that sets his club apart from many others. That website is really up to date. So, again, anyway, I've been chatting on enough. Steve's probably parched. He's already had 2 pints of water. Dave's ready for his coffin. Lee's ready for a piss, no doubt.
Dave's
next
got to get
week,
ready. Dave's got to get ready for some important visitors tomorrow.
Yeah, I've got, yeah.
mate, I wouldn't go there. I've fucking seen this fish, mate. Shit.
I've got a bacon now for you.
Next week, we have got National Koi Show team. I said team, not person. Ian Jenkins, I've managed to corner him and get him on. He will be sharing some of his delightful achievements. Matt Stevens, the chairperson of the National Koi Show, is coming on. He wants to give some information on stuff that he missed last time. And I'm really glad to say that we've got a very old Geordie also joining us at the same time, being Alan Tate, the chairperson of Junko. I think that's what it's called. I can't get it in my head. Can you get it in your head, Steve? The old JSC. It's the easier way of saying it.
It sounds rather dirty, doesn't it, Junko?
yeah, load of Junkos.
So, all three of them people coming on, and us three as well. Again, we'll cover any topics. We'll address anything that you want. Get thinking, and we will see you again next time at 7:30 on Friday. Steve, don't go anywhere. We'll see you again soon.
Yeah,
take care, everyone.
Guys,
Take care. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for having me on. Cheers.
You're welcome, Steve.